Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Hangout, or welcome to the Hangout, whether this is your first time or you're returning. I'm Joshua Cummins. You may already know this gentleman next to me is Midnight Q or Daniel. Either way, I'm sure you love him. Uh, this guy, he's a husband, a father, and a fantastic gamer. Way better. I suck at games, so he would just destroy me. It doesn't matter from Atari to N64 to now. I'm sure that you would just destroy me in every game. But we're going to talk to him about his life story tonight, and I'm so glad that you could join us for it. But before we get to all things Midnight Q, we've got some bills to pay, so to speak. You know, Hangout is just one of many shows on Revolver Broadcasting. So you might ask the question, what is Revolver Broadcasting? Well, it's an entire network of shows for your entertainment, for your education, for your news, for your pure joy. So if you haven't already, do follow or subscribe, depending upon the platform you're viewing or listening on. But also make sure that you are visiting the website, revolverbroadcasting.com. The website, again, is revolverbroadcasting.com. And when you do, and I notice I didn't say if, I said when, because I know you're going to go there. And you could scroll down right there on the main part of the webpage. You'll see some familiar faces there, and see the faces to the names of the shows. And it says listen here next to each one of those. You just click on that listen here tab. You want to watch Hangout directly from the website, you can do that. Click on that listen here tab, and you'll have every episode ever pop up, even the one that's live right this second. And check it out. You can also hover over where it says podcasts, see all the shows there in one place. Maybe you're a big fan of Morning Word with Sterling and I. Well, every episode ever of that, you just click on that, and there you go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You can also go to our news chambers, where you'll see daily devotionals, the prayer list, news stories, and assertions. Daily devotionals written by our good friend Danny Tippett. If you're unfamiliar with the It Makes Sense podcast, you guys need to check that out promptly after this show, of course. Wednesday night was a fantastic episode. I learned a lot. Darmac, who's a history major, he was like, dude, because I'm a history major and I learned a lot. Good to see you here, Hair Juicer. Thanks for dropping in. And also on the website, you can check out our prayer list, because we like to cultivate a culture of prayer here at Revolver Broadcasting. So if you would please go over there, pray for these folks by name, and get your prayer on. And if you need to be added to the prayer list because you have a prayer request, or maybe you have a praise report and need to be taken off the list, fill out the email form at the bottom part of any part of the webpage on revolverbroadcasting.com, and we will get you taken care of. And of course, last but not least, I'd like to have you guys check out the shop, where you can shop like a hot shot. And Midnight, I'm not for sure if you know this or not, but each and every one of these tabs here is another collection within Revolver Broadcasting. We have each of these is like a Christ is King collection, the Revolver Broadcasting branded collection, and then the latest here, because we have lots of them here, of course. But the American 250 is the latest in the collection, and so you can check out all those cool T-shirts there. I think we're gonna get some gaming ones going. I got to get with Sterling on how that's going to look, because Sterling, as you guys may well know, we just launched some gaming over here on Revolver Broadcasting, and Sterling's been doing a bang up job of doing that. I intend on joining him from time to time when I can, and even doing some solo streams so you can see how terrible I am at video games. But definitely go over and check out the shop and get yourself some stuff, some stoofs, as G2G might say. There's shirts and hats and all kinds of things. So check it out, guys. Absolutely awesome. Make sure you guys have liked this content if you haven't already. Make sure that you're commenting, not just in the live chat, but in the comment section below. Comment down there below, because it actually we've recognized that in real time. We've actually watched it in real time, that it breaks the algorithm on Rumble and puts us higher in the feed, people's feed and their queue, if someone as I'm sitting next to Q, but it shows us higher in people's feed when you comment in the comment section below. So do both if you would, please. Both are huge helps. And make sure that once again that you're subscribed or following, depending upon the platform you're viewing or listening on. Make sure all the notification bells are turned on so you know every time Revolver Broadcasting goes live. And make sure that you are sharing, because sharing is what, Midnight?
Sharing is caring.
Oh, yeah!
You gotta love it, man. You gotta love it.
Oh,
And Sacred Sage, welcome in, welcome in. We're getting some folks coming in and saying hello, so that is fantastic. Good to have you. And now that we've gotten all the pleasantries out of the way, the bills are paid. We're going to talk about all things Midnight Q. Now, as you know, I've reserved the hardest questions for the warm up. You know, the warm up questions are going to be the most difficult of this entire session. So we're just going to get those out of the way first, okay? And the most difficult of them being the very first one, of course. What's your favorite color?
That's the hardest question. I've changed it like 500 times. I'm gonna say red, but I also like green a lot. So I guess it's Christmas colors.
So it's kind of a tie, you think, between the two?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yep.
Any particular reason that draws you to those colors outside of it just being Christmas colors, or just...
No? Well, it wasn't really because of Christmas. I like green. I like the Green Lantern, and so I like the green there. But I've always liked red too. I was always okay. So I grew up in church. Red is the color of the blood of Christ. It's a time that you kind of mourn because he dies, but it's also what saves us, this shedding of his blood. So I just that color just reminds me of that, and it's just always appealed to me.
Amen to that. I appreciate that for sure.
You're right now.
Second question: what is your favorite book?
I was thinking about that when I knew that might be coming, and I was like, I don't know. Okay, the Bible for one, but I was trying to think of something beside the Bible, and I can stand with the Bible, but that's let me think for a second. Do you remember? I think I answered for somebody else what my favorite book was. Do you remember what I said?
Well,
it might have been a Ted Decker book. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he did something called the Circle Trilogy. It was kind of an analogy, a metaphor for the gospel.
okay.
But he sort of. It was a fantasy novel, but he tried to tie it in and make it it's a little more obvious than say the not Lord of the Rings, a little more obvious than the Narnia series.
Yeah.
So it's probably a little more on the nose. Yeah, allegory, a little more on the nose than that. But yeah, so he had a guy that basically came from our world to another world that still knew no sin. Unfortunately, him coming into the world, he brought sin with him, and he broke one of their laws, and it spoiled their world, and then they had to go through a redemption arc themselves to try to. Oh, was there Adam? I thought it was he. I thought he did it. I remember reading it. Oh, you're right. You're right. Okay, I'm not remembering it too well because it's been a little while since I've read it. Yeah, it was their Adam that did it. I was forgetting that. Or maybe it was. Or I think you remember you mentioning the. Come here, might as well come on. She's just. Otherwise, I'll just be listening to her the whole time. You need to come here and talk on the mic so they can hear you.
You know that guy who wrote that house book, like Peretti, or yeah, I think that was the one. No, okay.
Anyway.
But yeah, hey, it's fantastic to have help, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, since you mentioned the Bible, as we know, that's a collection of books. There's actually 66 in there. Is there one that really speaks to you specifically from the Bible?
So that's kind of a weird question because I don't have one favorite book, but there is. But as far as speaking to me, that changes. At times it's Jude because of certain things in certain churches. A warning. There's different warnings in Jude there. Other times it's John, but not the gospel. It's his letters.
Yeah.
Although I do like John's gospel the best, but it's really different from the others. And I wish my memory was better. I mean, I'm glad. I mean, we read it with the kids, and then I try, but don't always get to read it for myself half the time after that because I'm supposed to have my own Bible reading for me, and I don't get to that one as much. But I'm glad I'm doing it with the kids now because that at least helps me be more consistent with it. And I wish my memory was better because there's things I'll be like, I remember this, and then it's like, wait, where was that? and I'll get some detail wrong. And thankfully, like, well, you heard Amanda. She oftentimes helps me to recall things and we get things ironed out as I'm trying to recall it. And but I do not. I have the opposite of photographic memory.
Well, mentioning the Book of John, because it is different because he approaches it. Like I think about the Matthew and John being almost polar opposites in the way that they accounted their account. Because Matthew was very like, this is what happened. This is very matter of fact. He was almost like no nonsense. Like just everything is just very information, logic, whereas with John, it's about how he felt.
Yeah. And the meaning. He'll explain things the other ones don't. Like if you're, I don't. Now I'm trying to think of an example. I'm sitting there going, I'm drawing a blank. But I remember there was something. I remember I was reading something, and John went, "Wait, that explains this one over here because now you have the meaning behind it." But yeah, but there's I used to not care for Mark as much. I know you're not supposed to say that about the Bible. I don't care about this book. Now it's become one of my favorite. And now it also kind of stands out to me a little more than it used to. If numbers ever does that to me, that'll be a miracle. That book I have the hardest time with.
Yeah, I'm kind of like Kings. Second Kings.
We've been doing Kings this month with the kids. Well, actually, the last couple months with the kids. We're getting through Second Kings now, but yeah, we were having to back up at the beginnings of the verses as it explained this in the beginning of the 12th year of so and so. Then it would finally get to the guy we're talking about, and as I was reading that, because for those that don't know, I have headaches, migraines, chronic headaches, and then migraines on top of that. So sometimes it affects my reading comprehension, or it affects my comprehension in general. But so what I was doing, I was stopping and I went, wait, I don't think I read that right. So I'd read it again, and she thought I was having trouble with my eye, and I said, no, it's my reading comprehension. I'm not getting this. And she's like, well, okay. Then we kind of had to actually take the sentence apart. I haven't done that since grade school, but my wife homeschools, so she's been doing that with the kids when they do sentences and stuff. I'm pointing to my kids, which no one can see, so I don't know. I talk with my hands, so it's kind of, and I can't help it.
You're doing a fantastic job. It's a wonderful job.
If I point here, kids. If I point over there, what? Oh, you can't see my hands. That way. So I got to fit in my frame. Yeah. So I'm in a box. So we took the sentence apart and realized in the middle of the sentence is who we're actually talking about. Before that is the guy that's set in the frame of reference for his history of when he started, and then after that is where he's ruling. And it was like, okay. And then I realized they're all like this. Every time we get to a different king, it's always the same way. Thankfully, it's consistent, so we can track it after that. But the kids were like, "Oh yeah, that helps us too." It was like, so me having trouble was helping them to get it figured out too.
Yeah, the one I usually recommend to most guys is because we've been going through it on Faith, Fame, and Politics, as you know, the Book of James, because it's so practical. Like it's very like, here's the thing that you're dealing with in Christianity, and here's the wrench to fix it. Like I don't know, and this is not a knock against women. Just I want to preface with that it's not a knock against women, but most of them, they read the Book of James and they go, this sounds too much like a guy book. Like it just because it's just like it's just very like in the garage, turn a wrench type of the way it's spoken and everything. And so like I know that when I was reading it and doing Bible study with my wife, and see now I'm talking about with my wife and my niece and one of my niece's friends, because she's basically like another niece because she hangs out here all the time. But doing Bible study with them, and we're going through the book of James, and they're like, we get what you're saying, and they're giving the right responses and everything, but they're like, this is very much a guy's book, isn't it? And it's like, well, I mean, it was a guy who wrote it, but I get why you say that, because it's just very practical in its way, and just very like simple, here's the problem, here's the fix. Whereas some books, like until you get to Proverbs, like you're looking at Psalm and you're hearing all these woes from David, or the sons of Korah and things of the sort, and you're like, okay, but how do you fix that? Mm-hmm. And it's not until the later chapters or some of the later,
That's because when you talk to women and they're talking to you, they don't want you to fix their problems. They want you to listen to it, and that's it.
That's it.
They don't want you to offer any help of how to do it. You do that, and suddenly you're back to the guy's book.
Yeah.
That's why that sounds like a guy's book, because he's saying, "Here's how you fix it." No, James. We want you to listen to our problem.
Yeah.
That's it. Stay right there.
I think James must have been
he was single.
Wise guy. Yeah, subtle. Oh my goodness, AC.
I shouldn't say that. I don't know that about James at all, guys. Don't take my word for whether James was married or not.
I don't know either. I don't think it says either.
I don't always do the research on that stuff. I think Peter was.
Yeah, Peter was married. Yeah.
Paul was not, but Paul kind of mentions that.
Yeah, Paul wanted to stay single because it was easier for him to keep his mind on it was easier for him to keep his mind on the Lord as well.
She still got her food. If you guys see tomatoes come my way, you'll know I said something wrong.
If you guys watch Morning Word, you've seen pamphlets being thrown at me for pursuit. So it's okay. It's no harm, no foul. Honestly. No, AC's in the live chat. He said, "Is this a Dumb and Dumber interview?"
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, I love that guy, man. I love AC. If you guys aren't following the Angry Conservative, you need to be. He's a fantastic guy, and I love him very much. And there's few people that can get away with saying stuff like that, and he's one of them. So, yeah, that's how you can tell we're friends, right? Like when he gets like that about us, and then we're just like, yeah, okay. Sure. All right, so we've done favorite color, favorite book. How about favorite movie? What's your favorite movie?
Princess Bride.
Ah, nice.
Good action, sports, romance. I'll just go with Columbo's lines.
You keep using this word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
I used to see that on TV, and I never could catch all of it from the beginning. I kept thinking, I finally figured out what it was. So I was like, why have I never heard of this movie outside of this randomly catching it on television? Back when television used to show random movies.
Right.
Hold on. I got... Guys. What do y'all... Guys, don't yell so much, okay? Thank you. Sorry. All of a sudden, you went away. I couldn't hear you anymore.
No need to apologize. I understand. I'm sure our viewers do. Like we talked about pre-show, like, hey, you got a family, and you shouldn't be expected to.
Nope, this way.
Yeah, shouldn't be expected to not address it. But yeah. That's a great pick, man. I loved that movie growing up, and hearing those lines, like
the thing got me was that sword fight, and he's like, "Well, what you really don't know is I'm really right-handed," and he's like, "So am I." It's like, what the? It's just like, yes. What? They had Andre the Giant. I was like, that was awesome.
Anybody want a peanut?
It's one of those movies. I don't watch a lot of movies over and over again. A lot of times I'll watch it and be like, okay, I'm done with that for 5 years at least. That movie, I can watch it anytime. It's just pick it up, watch it, I'm good to go.
Yeah, and it gets referenced in other things in pop culture all the time. I mean, even what's Jason Sudeikis? He's in that movie on Apple or show on Apple TV about the soccer coach. You know what show I'm talking about where he plays a soccer coach?
I don't have Apple TV.
But yeah, he's over there in England, and he was a football coach. He goes over to America. He's transplanted, and he's soccer coaching over there, and he has this bet where he's playing darts against the former owner of the team. And anyway, he made this bet with him, and as he's playing darts, he says, "And what I forget to mention is I'm left-handed." And then changed it was the whole thing was very like you could tell it was set up to reference Princess Bride. It just used the other hand instead because England and they drive on the wrong side of the road.
Yep. Yeah.
Then all of a sudden he could play darts better. And it was fantastic, but it was a great Princess Bride reference. You could tell that it was what they were doing with the scene. So I love that when it gets referenced in pop culture still to this day. It shows you how that movie just stays in relevance, even though it was so long ago.
And it's funny, it failed at the box office. But the video cassette saved it as far as fame goes.
That goes with some of the greatest movies of all time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I can't tell you how many movies are actually. I have a DVD collection. I have a physical media collection. I'm a millennial, so I guess that tracks, right?
Yep.
But I get that so many of them. There's like they failed at the box office, but it's like that DVD or VHS is what turned things around.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't have that much anymore. You can't just make a comeback through Blockbuster. You have to be discovered on Netflix or one of the streaming services. Hopefully, if they pick you up, otherwise you end up in the annals of Tubi.
I found a lot of stuff on Tubi that I couldn't find anywhere else. It's like, okay, here we go. It's like, here, kids, watch this show. I used to watch this. And they're just, they could name you older shows faster than they could name you anything from today because we just watch stuff off Tubi or anything that's free off Roku.
My wife and I, we just rediscovered a TV show I completely forgot about this week. Did you ever see Sliders?
Love that show until they got to the last couple seasons. It was like, what is this?
Yeah, it gets a little weird at the last couple seasons, but what a fantastic premise to be able to just go to parallel universes and stuff. And
that was a great idea. Yeah, I loved it because of that, going to different Earths. Well, I liked it when they kept it in the same place, and then they showed you how many different variations they could have. I mean, I can understand why they want to go to different places, but man, just introducing. I don't think it was aliens. Weren't they supposed to be like it's supposed to be an evolutionary branch, wasn't it, of cavemen or something? The Cro-Mags.
Something.
Yeah, but they had spaceships that could travel through dimensions using that slider technology. And but that just changed the whole dynamic. I was like, this is not the same show.
Yeah, because it started off in the guy in his basement, and he's with his professor and his and the lady friend, and then that weird the singer guy who was just like he just happened.
Rembrandt.
Yeah, Rembrandt. I was just driving my Cadillac. And then here I was.
He stuck with it till the end. He at least deserves something for that. They all abandoned ship. So
yeah, he was. I think he's probably my favorite character. It's like every time he would get so happy about where they'd be at, he'd be like, "I think I'm gonna stay in this world," and then it would all go terribly wrong and come crashing down. And I told that because my niece was watching a couple episodes with us last night, and I says, "Beware! Anytime Rembrandt's happy, the episode's about to turn bad for him." Yep. Coffee says, Arturo. Yeah, Arturo.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, the professor. Fantastic.
We have Arturo on Rumble, and whenever I see his name, I think of the show. That's why it's been in recent memory for me. So I was like, oh, okay. I've never referenced that to him, but I think of it. So that's the only 2 times I've seen the name.
Yeah, it's not a common one. Now that we've gotten through the most difficult questions, we'll get to the easy stuff. We call it over here on the Hangout. We call it retrograding. We're going to go backwards, all the way back to you're fresh out of the womb, baby midnight Q, and
that's almost scary how well you do a baby voice.
You're all other impressions. I do a lot of them.
I'm getting ready to hear one of those voices again soon.
Well, God bless you, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. It brought you many blessings, as we can hear.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
It's just like, that scared me.
It's almost like they were emulating, but
Yeah.
that's that's where we'll start. What was it like growing up in the world of Midnight Q?
Oh boy. So I was originally born. I can talk states. I won't talk towns.
Okay.
I guess. Well, I might talk one town because that's my one tie to fame there. I was born in Indiana, and I ended up growing up in Iowa. So Dad went to college here. Then he ended up staying put. So we just ended up staying here. But I was born in Vincennes, which of course, yeah, I can't escape knowing and hearing everything about Red Skelton.
Yeah.
So, because that's where he was from.
Yeah.
And I think that's where he was born too. So that's my claim to fame there. That's it. Well, that, and apparently when I was born, my grandma says that she talked to a guy, and the baby I was placed next to was actually the princess of another country.
Huh.
So my other claim to fame, I guess. What? You got to lean over more than that. Come here. I was trying to make sure she didn't tip over because she was really going for it. So that was. But then we came to Iowa, and I usually tell people from there. I'll say I'm in cornfields. That's a good way to describe where I am. Almost. They're just down the road.
Yeah, you and coffee, right? Because as coffee says, "Hey, another Iowan."
Yeah. Cool. I'll remember that. I'll find you. No, I won't find you. But not like
I
that.
think coffee won't mind it as long as you bring coffee.
Coffee. If he's got coffee, I won't mind it. Then I might find him and you always need coffee.
That's right.
I'll bring some corn. The farmer might not like it, but I'll grab some from him. And
unless you're Sterling, Sterling runs away from coffee. He not the chatter, but the the actual drink. He's. I've tried so many times that I was like, even cold brew. I was like, dude, you can't even taste the coffee taste in cold brew if it's sweet. And he's just like,
I used to avoid coffee like the plague. I saw it as the drink of old people. It was like no, because if I drink coffee, that's all. Then I'm gonna be old. That's all I'm allowed to drink apparently. Because they'd drink coffee, and that was about it. I don't know. I don't remember how old I was, but I was probably like. So as a little kid, that was my perception of older people. They drank coffee, and some of them smoked. I mean, other people smoked apparently, obviously, but it felt like it was like the coffee drinkers that really kind of did it. And I don't know. That was my perception when I was 5. And I don't know how that relates to anything me, but that's how I viewed the world. But unless they went to church, then they didn't smoke and they drank coffee without smoking. So so I was brought up. I was brought up in church. We were there all the time for all sorts of stuff, meetings. A lot of the time, even when I was beyond nursery, I just put in the nursery because I still was young enough to play with toys, and that's where the toys were, and that was the only thing to do with me while they were at one of the meetings at church. And I remember other kids would bring like maybe a radio and stuff like that. If there were other kids, sometimes there weren't. It was just me and my brothers, and we'd just have to make do with whatever we could find in the nursery, the church library, so we could get books or whatever. And they didn't have much. I mean, the church library was a shelf back then. If we even had a library, depending on the church we were at, if we had a library. But yeah, so grew up going to Sunday school, and boy golly, but we'd always root for Indiana teams over Iowa teams, and that always made things interesting with my friends. And we'd grow up referring to Indiana as home or down home, back home. People are like, well, okay. When I'm with my family, it makes sense, but when I was with other people, it didn't make a whole lot of sense. I'd explain it. Like, oh, okay, we got it. And I was like, okay. So it's just something I didn't realize at a certain age. I didn't realize I had to explain that to other people. I just talked that way, and then realized, oh, you're not getting it. Okay, yeah, my family's from there. What else? We watched He-Man and all G.I. Joe, Transformers, all the good cartoons.
So the best cartoons.
The best cartoons, yeah, still are. I thought cartoons were gonna get better, and then I wasn't. And then after I grew up, I was like, they didn't.
They went the other way.
They got better for a while, and then they went the other direction, and was
kind of stopped with Powerpuff Girls. It just kind of got off the train at Powerpuff Girls, and then it went.
That was. My kids have discovered Powerpuff Girls because of Tubi, and one of the jokes that came up that that killed me was they had no fingers in the cartoon. They didn't draw them with fingers. And one time they had a body switching device, and one of them was in the body of the professor trying to answer the phone, and she looks at his fingers and says, "How do you use these things?" She just touches it and it doesn't stick to her hand. So she's like, what? That made me think, how do their hands work? I just assumed they didn't draw them. I didn't assume they didn't have fingers. I thought, okay, well, it's an artistic choice. Yeah. They probably actually have fingers. We just don't see them. No big deal. But now that I know they really don't have fingers and they can pick things up, why is that not in their list of superpowers? It's like Daredevil not getting not getting that somehow that sight that he has listed as a superpower because we just didn't mention it.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of messed me up when I was watching the. I read a few of those comics when I was a kid, and watching the first time they did the movie. With Affleck and the rain starts pouring down, and all of a sudden he can see. Spoiler alert for anybody that hasn't seen that really old movie now. But yeah, all of a sudden he could see her through the raindrops falling on. I'm like, so he can see.
Yeah, it's like was it sonar? He could see. It was like the echo, like a bat could see or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so every raindrop made a sound, and it was giving him an image, and it somehow. Yeah, I remember that now. That was he was not one of the guys I read growing up. I didn't have access to a lot of comic books. I loved comic books when I got them, but I didn't have too many of them. I collected two. One was the old Archie Comics Ninja Turtles, which were bizarre. Yeah. Yeah, they follow. They basically are like the cartoon series, only I don't know. They were both bizarre. So they had an interdimensional cowhead they could travel through dimensions with. I don't know what they were. I don't know how to. I don't want to explain that any further. Because I haven't read them for a while, and I don't know how to explain it right. And if I didn't, it'd sound like I was doing the drugs instead of the people that wrote the book.
Not only that, but there'd be somebody like that out there that's like a big fan of the books and be like, "Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you got that all wrong, and here's how and magazine number 14."
yeah. And then the cowhead thing never even made it. And he wasn't in it all the time. He was in it kind of later, towards when they started needing somebody to travel through space and time with, or space and dimensions. And and that's always a bizarre character to bring up. And then I played one of the new video game for the consoles that came out, that new Turtles fighter game. That cow is in it. I was like, really? I was like, is anybody going to get that? So I was like, I mean, I got it, but
yeah.
But that was the other one was Spider-Man during that clone saga that nobody liked, but I actually kind of did like it because they introduced
it off into 4 different sagas.
Yeah. I went to the gas station every week just to look for the next comic because I wasn't sure when it was coming out, and I didn't know. And I was surprised, and I was having trouble keeping up because I'd never really done that with a book before. I think I was 12 or 11. I'd ride my bike down to the gas station, get one of the books, Spectacular Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, because it was going through all of them.
Yeah, all
And
four.
yeah, and I didn't know that's how it worked back then, and it drove me crazy when the bad artist would be drawing it, because I was like, "Who is this guy, and why is he allowed to draw this comic book?"
Yeah.
He was. So I didn't understand how any of that was done. Sometimes I still don't, but my primary superhero group wasn't even Marvel or Turtles. It was the DC group, which because of the cartoon shows that kind of drew me into it more. I mentioned Green Lantern. I have actually gotten. Well, I didn't buy. I do have some of the books because I bought them in collections as an adult, but there weren't books I could get as a kid. As a kid, it was mostly Superman and Batman. And what surprised me growing up was realizing the first animated show was Aquaman, not Superman or Batman. Which
I didn't know that either.
He had part of the Justice League. He had Superman with him, along with a couple of other heroes, because it was the Aquaman and I was going to say Amazing Friends, but that was Spider-Man. Aquaman Power. Oh, I don't remember what the name of it was now, but it was Aquaman's show. He was the headliner. No, that wasn't it.
I got access to Google. I see.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that, and I only found that out recently, and I'd never seen that. I don't remember how I came across that. But that was.
So we have let's see here. Aquaman, and so Aquaman Justice League, Aquaman King of Atlantis, Aquaman. The Adventures of. I think that was The Adventures of Aquaman. May have been it, and then he later has. Because other characters, it shows other characters are in The Adventures of.
I should say it was the first animated TV show, because I think Superman had animation with Fleischer Studios.
Yeah, so Superman was almost always on between Superman and the Flash. They were always big pillars of animation too. But I guess I was always more familiar growing up with Marvel than DC. So like I had to have friends explain quite a few DC characters. I mean, Batman and Superman, they're kind of everywhere. But Green Lantern, it wasn't until about I think it was about 12 years ago. I ran into some friends of mine and we'd played board games and stuff together, and they explained Green Lantern to me because I was like, "We can do what now?" And they're like, "Yeah, he has this ring and he can imagine things." And I was like, "Oh."
I
had no idea.
If you want to trip down that, I think it was the second or third Lego Batman game got into the Green Lantern stuff pretty decent. I'm glad Lego did Batman. I'm glad they expanded it to the rest of the Justice League, but unfortunately, once you get to the rest of the Justice League, you lose an element of Batman for some reason. He stops being a detective and starts being the I'm prepared Boy Scout, where he's prepared for everything instead of he no longer solves things or figures out or knows how to do or figures out how to do something. He just already knows how to do it because he was just expecting it. It's like that's two different Batman. Yeah. He stops being the same guy. And that's an unfortunate thing for Batman, but it was fun because you got to explore some of these heroes that they sometimes with the Lego games they just throw everybody. You get if you never get to play them and you have some oddball favorite, you could play as Polka Dot Man if you wanted to and fully enjoy playing around as Polka Dot Man. And who would ever saw him coming into a video and starring in a video game of his own? So yeah, I grew up with video games. Dad got. Sorry, I got. So I should have warned. I should have warned you. I'm Tangent Man. I shouldn't claim that. I don't want to be that hero. But that's my. But I can't. I go off into tangents. But Dad, he got us into. He was into video games before I was into video games. That's how I got into video games. And that of course, brings us way into now. But we didn't have the Atari, and I was real sore about that when I was a kid because I wanted Pac-Man. And so, but that was, the Intellivision was made by Mattel, and it was Atari's competitor, and we had things like not Tarzan, Pitfall, Pitfall, and then they had a bunch of Lock and Chase was their version of Pac-Man because they made ones because they needed something like it.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. It was kind of nice because they did different mazes than Pac-Man had. And later when they did get Pac-Man, it looked more like Pac-Man than Atari's version did. And that was amazing to me because like, how did they finally get this on? Because I saw Atari's and it was just Pac-Man never really changed direction. He just kind of he stayed still as he moved around. The Intellivision version actually would move with whichever way you're going. Like
the arcade.
Like the arcade. I was like, that was cool. And Dad had said when he got one that was supposed to be better than the Atari, and it finally ended up proving right. It's just and he was like, "Are you finally glad we got it?" It was like 5 years. It was like 3 years after we got it. He's like, "Are you finally glad we got this one?" I'm like, yeah. So, but he used to. I remember him and some friends from his work or school. I can't remember if he was in college at the time or not. But there's guys he knew. But they'd trade games, not to keep, but they would just like swap them and then enjoy them for a while and then give them back when they were done. But they used to keep the games in the jewelry case because there was no place to put them over in the electronics because they were too small, and I guess over a certain dollar amount they were required to lock them up or something. It's crazy times when you think about it.
So kind of like the early rentals of games in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, but that way and then later that when Mattel closed it out, the developers kept making the games themselves. They'd send out a catalog. Anybody that ever had, when they purchased all the Intellivision properties from Mattel, they apparently acquired the mail list, so they were able to mail the customers that had never contacted Mattel before and say, "Hey, look, we're still selling games. If you want to buy them, you can order them through us." And they introduced a whole lot of games after that. They were kind of cool, but it was like they were losing their momentum at the time to Nintendo.
Everybody was, right?
Yeah. Well, they had the video game crash, and then it was Nintendo, which saved video games basically. But yeah, so that's kind of so I grew up learning about God. I grew up really acquiring I like a good hero villain story, and then I find out from the Bible, of course, we have our best hero villain story. Most of your even Disney's Hercules touches on some. What are you doing back there?
Trying to shoot you with a tank. Apparently.
That's his new tank. Well, it's got it for $2. It came full of army men and a couple of other smaller tanks, so he's ready to go to war now. I'm being attacked.
You are loved, sir. That's what that is.
Yes, I am. Oh, she's fine. She's fine. Yeah. Anyway, let me get me more water here.
Sure.
I lost my train of thought, though.
You grew up going to church. You grew up.
The hero and villain story. So I really came to appreciate the hero and villain story. And I was like, one time when I was watching even like Disney's Hercules, your best hero stories is when the hero has to learn something about sacrifice. And that's kind of because that points back to, I think, the story of Jesus, who made his sacrifice on the cross. And I realize that's where a lot of the best stories are about is the heroes learning about sacrifice. Of course, they're just a reflection of that. They're not the salvation story, but they're kind of they're a reflection of the salvation story. But even when people don't intend to, they still tend to draw back on that because it is such a good story. You have a person that can't lose anything, who all of a sudden can lose
everything.
Everything, and he has to give it all up if he really wants to save it. And I was like, that's some of those better stories are when the heroes do that. I was just like, dude, some of these, I was breaking up on. I always do break up on some of those if it hits the right chord because it kind of touches back on that original. Well, I wouldn't say. Well, I mean, God gave us some of those stories before crucifixion, I think, but He was doing that as a foretelling of what was to come or what to look for.
Yeah. Certainly, thinking like Abraham and Isaac, right? That kind of sacrifice, and because the father-son dynamic, which later does play out with the Father God and Jesus Son. So it's great that you mentioned that too, because even Joseph Campbell I don't know if you're familiar with that author at all. He wrote the book that inspired George Lucas to write Star Wars. And in that book, he talks about the hero's journey,
Mm-hmm.
and so that whole arc, you see it in Star Wars, you see it in everything, but everything, all those stories, these heroes of old and everything comes from somewhere. It all relates
Mm-hmm.
back to some other story, and even the Bible talks about these heroes of old. How the Greeks had these stories that were their stories were allegories for other
Yeah.
actual happenings. Just
Yep.
like we have our movies today that are allegories for so many stories, because the arcs are the same.
Yep.
It's only when those arcs get broken that we're like, this movie's trash.
Yeah. It's hard to do. I understand why it's hard to do sequels, because you can't. It's hard to say, okay, now I can't remember what show I was watching. They ran into that with every season. It was like their characters were learning the same lessons. Like, why are they learning the same lesson again? Oh, because they're trying to recreate the story arc, that style, that same thing they did there. And then, but then they're repeating it, and then it's like you don't want a repeat of it, and you don't want to tell it again too much. So it's hard to do sequel. That's why sometimes I wish they would move on, or have the person come back knowing the lessons and then applying them, as opposed to learning it again. But that's I've seen
Yeah.
some.
That's why
Yes.
that's why sequels can't really do, because there's a formula to it.
Mhm.
That's what people
Yeah.
people know, the hero's journey. And so when you don't follow that arc, people go, "This is trash." Like they're ready to get rid of it as soon as they realize that it's not following that same arc. The status quo, the call to arms, all these things that lead up to the final climax, right? This
Mhm.
big battle between the big bad and the hero that we've been following along, and then the eventual resolution and new status quo.
Oh, sorry, guys.
I mean, even the events of Jesus follows that same arc. In there's reason being because that's what people
Yep.
understand. They know, but also because that's how life works.
Yeah.
It follows this pattern, and that's why people are so familiar with this. Is like this is how things are supposed to work. In the end, good
Mhm.
wins, and this is how it all comes out. And there's a new status quo.
Good wins at a cost, and it's everything's paid for at the end.
Mhm. Yeah, and sacrifice, like you said, that's a great word for it.
Yeah. So I grew up with those stories. Those are the kinds I enjoy. I try to write a few. My writings, a lot of them took place in junior high, and most of them were stupidly comedic. I mean, yeah, they were kind of stupid, but they were more done like a written Looney Tune. But they were still meant to have that hero story in there, and some of it was there, some of it's not. Some of it, I explored with it, which was, I found some of it interesting. Some of it, that was where the name Midnight came from originally. I have the verse to explain where Midnight Q comes from. Midnight Q was a different incarnation of the same character, but it was something a little more serious. It was a lot more serious. And I was explaining that to my wife earlier. I said, well, when I came up with Midnight Q, I said I was kind of coming up with an idea for a more serious version of Midnight, because the original version was a private eye who was basically knocked out, lost his memory, woke up somewhere, didn't know where he was. Oh, wait, did he lose his memory? Anyway, woke up not knowing where he was, trying to figure out where he was, who had him, but it had its ridiculous nature to it. And the original idea was that he couldn't shoot anything directly, because he would shoot the gun, but it would ricochet everywhere first, and then eventually hit the target dead on. And I didn't tell the story in the first story what had happened, but my working idea was that he was a guy who had been blessed with this great aim, used to hit everything right off the bat, but he got cursed by a gypsy, but because she couldn't overcome his blessing, it got diverted. so it could only delay his bullet getting to the target rather than I couldn't stop it. The later version was a little more serious, and I had developed the one for the Q came from an email address because I was trying to come up with an email address, and I'll just use Midnight, but everybody already used Midnight, and every thing I could think of for an email address, you could go 1, 2, 3. You could put in your a certain. It was all taken. And I thought, well, what if I just try the letter Q? Is anybody using the letter Q for anything? Popped it in there, and I went, oh, that works. And then I thought, Q makes a great word. It's a great letter for the word quest, and I thought, and that reminded me. Well, that comes from the Bible verse about the quest of the virgins waiting for the bridegroom, and that's and so they. So then I was like, okay, well, that's cool. So I can work with this, but in terms of the story goes, my story was going to go take another turn where I'd never heard of Kolchak before, but I came up with some ideas for writing I'll explain Kolchak in a minute. Came up with some ideas for a detective who basically he'd start off solving a perfectly normal crime. Well, if crimes could be depends on your definition of normal,
Right.
But he'd end up in the midst of was going to borrow like your classic horror movie monsters, maybe go up against a vampire, go up against a werewolf. It's like, what am I going against here? And he finally I told my wife is that his turning point happens when his turning point was going to happen at a point. If I ever got around to writing the story, it would have happened when he was finally got mad. He was stopped being scared of what he was fighting and finally said, that's it. The only thing that should be scared in the dark are the evil things lurking in it. And he decides he's going to make them scared of him, not the other way around.
Okay. Then it kind of goes the route of maybe like the guys from Supernatural or something, right?
At that point, I never heard of Supernatural, so no. The original story was a little bit before that, so but that was it. Probably would go something like that, but let's see. I was trying to think what there was. I didn't really have a frame for that one. Like I said, no one was ever scared of Kolchak. Have you ever heard of that show at all?
Uh-uh.
So he's
loaded with silver bullets.
What?
Was he loaded with silver
No.
bullets?
I don't think that was in that one. Did you watch it? Was that in there? Okay. I was gonna say it's been years since I seen it. Oh, you're telling me he should have used Uzi with silver bullets for the werewolves. Yeah, that's overdoing it and a waste of silver. No, he was a newspaper reporter, and he got. After I discovered this show, I was like, I don't know if I want to write my story because it almost looks like I tried to rip it off. But he instead of being a private eye, he did almost all the work of a private eye because he was an investigative reporter. He would investigate these weird happenings in neighborhoods and places, and they'd always have some sort of supernatural thing behind it. And he was, I think the weirdest that show came was when they almost looked like at one point you're asking yourself, do the cops even know what's happening, or do they just shut him down because they think he's ridiculous? But in one of the shows they had the cops say something. I went, they know what's going on, but they don't want him talking about it. And I thought, it was almost like the writers kind of, because it was episodic, they didn't serialize the television show. It was all episodic, but it was almost like the writers for the first time was like, there's something deeper here. We're just letting you know that they know, but we can't go any deeper than that. It's like, oh, come on. And the show only went one season, so you only get like 13 episodes, and then you never hear of it again. And it's actually it's really good. And they tried to revive it a few times, but the revivals were always they were. Some shows are best left with being done with no money because the show's writing is so good.
Yeah, well, and it forces the writing to have to be good because they have.
Yeah.
Necessity is the
mother of invention.
Mother of invention, yeah, that's the word.
Yep.
So you were writing these stories as a young kid, so you were very imaginative.
Yeah, well, that one didn't. I was working on it, but I never put the pen to paper for that second version of Midnight. But I took the name and the email. I gave up the email address a long time ago because I was looking for something. I wasn't doing anything with the email address at that point, or I need something more professional looking. But I kept the name for my gaming tag and for different things, and I thought, I like the way the Midnight Quest works out, so I kind of use that to remind me of that Bible verse, and I keep that in mind. And then I kind of keep I don't know. I still have a place for that story because I still love thinking about maybe writing that out one day. As long as I can remember some of what I was going to do. Well, I mean, maybe I don't need to remember it. I just need to write it and maybe make it new.
I would definitely encourage you to do so, man. Anything that just like we was talking about, you're worried about it being derivative. It's like, well, everything is
everything's, yeah, but it was a little too, it was too on the nose in some places. I was like, yeah, it's almost like they knew.
Doesn't matter.
It's almost like I went back in time and wrote it.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter even today because people's memories are like this long for one.
Yeah,
also,
that's true.
We had what was it? Deep Impact and what was the other movie? Where they went to space to destroy the asteroid. Like it was the same movie kind of movie, but they're they had two different companies putting out basically the same movie from I mean, like it doesn't matter. It's just as long as you're telling your story, even if it parallels something else.
Well, one thing I liked about Kolchak was they didn't just pull out like your standard monster like I was going to do. Dang, that was a heck of a burp. That happens on stream all the time. That somebody off camera just does something, and I'm like, dude, that wasn't me. Or before I had the camera, I had to specify it wasn't me because no one knew. It could have easily been me. But that's anyway. So, but yeah. So, I lost my train of thought again. I'm sorry. Went away.
What you liked about Kolchak?
Oh, Kolchak, yeah. So he, so his monster, they always pull out some obscure stuff. Like they had a Jewish golem one time? And I was like, what the heck is that? Yeah. It was from more of their mythological writings or something. So it wasn't really from like, what you can, it wasn't from the Old Testament, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But they had how'd they do that? It was interesting how they did it because it started off, they thought they had some people that were trying to be Nazis writing up swastikas in the neighborhood of Jews. It ended up being a Hindu man he was trying to protect the neighborhood because they had taken the swastika from Hinduism.
Right.
And flipped the meaning, and I think they flipped it, so it goes the other direction. Now they were trying their remedy for it. I mean, obviously, you and I know if something really spiritual is happening, we call on the Lord and pray, right. Read our Bible and stuff like that. Of course, you go with that. But what Kolchak would do is he'd have to figure out what was actually going on. He finds out, okay, so you're not actually trying to hurt people; you're trying to protect them. He goes, "What are you trying to protect them from?" Then the golem shows up. He goes, "What the heck is that?" he's just like. And he's like, so he has to research what a golem is, and how once they put the thing together and make it go, how do you stop it and take it apart? Which is what he did. So he goes through all this work to do it. He gets, of course, when he writes the story up, just as he would for any other newspaper story, nobody believes him. The cops laugh at him because, like I said, they know what's going on, but they know that nobody will believe him. And so he gets none of the credit. He does all this work to save this neighborhood, and of course, somehow the bad guy gets arrested for something entirely different because they can't just have this, because the cops, they can't just have this guy going around doing stuff, so they arrest him when it's all over. But they have some regular charges get ready to go, so they can hold him on something else that's legitimately believable.
So I heard you should say so it sounds like mom and dad were pretty encouraging growing up then if you were allowed to sit and be that creative.
Yeah.
Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, that's pretty fair to say. They like, they'd always read my stories and give me input if they needed to give me input. I wish I kept going on that a little bit. I mean, like I said, I still created some ideas, but I never really kept the writing. Oh, no, I take that back. There was one story, a friend of mine, we kind of kept going on one called Trinix Day, which we wrote for a while after college, and then eventually we let it go because we weren't really publishing it. So the writing experiment with Midnight Q was how detailed can I get with it? Even though it was comedic and silly, I was taking the first person descriptive narrative seriously, and I was trying to describe things from a first person's point of view and give people a frame of mind of where, okay, here's a guy, you're in his shoes, you're seeing out of his eyes, he's describing everything to you, because right now what you see is what his words are. So I was trying to think, okay, now how do I present this to the reader in a first person format? Now I'm just doing this as a kid, so I don't really know how good a job I did. I felt like I did a good job myself, but I liked it.
Sounds like a Michael Crichton approach.
You have to. What is that again? I forget.
Congo, Jurassic Park, those books.
Oh, is that how you wrote it? I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, fantastic. The books are better than the movies, honestly. I know the movies are like, they're pleasing to the eye, but then when you read the books, you're like, whoa, this stuff is violent.
I'd like it. My wife wouldn't. Okay, got it. Yeah, so that does sound. Yeah, that was my attempt anyway. But yeah, you know what's funny was I never thought about looking for the books as a kid. I just saw the movie and just assumed that was what most people do today. The movie is all there is. It's all you think about.
Yeah,
and it's like, and sometimes it's the case. Sometimes it's not. Nothing. But like you said, everything comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then the later experiment was him and me. I would write a part of the story for Trinix Day, then I'd send it to him, and I can't remember how we did this. If we didn't do it right, it would have been messy. But sometimes it was. But I would write him into a predicament, and then he'd turn around and try to write me into a predicament, and we'd see how the other person would get out of it or get the characters through it. We introduced. The idea was that our characters existed in this flat world, and they didn't know that at the time. But it was not quite like Pratchett's Discworld. It wasn't quite like that, because at the end we never got to the end of the first story, and we got way past what a first book ever should be. And I was like, dude, what the heck are we gonna do with this story? I was like, we'd have to cut out most of the book just to if we ever did publish it, because the idea was to write one book that explained the first layer of the story before we even got to the next book. That actually finally gave you the real picture of what was going on here. But what we were going to do at the end of this first book was have them all fall off the edge of the world and end it. And they were going to take out the bad guy, but in the process of taking him out, they were going to basically destroy his castle, and they were going to go down with it off the edge, because his castle was on the edge of the world where he was planning something very foul. And we had there wasn't a main bad guy. By the time we were in wherever we were in the story, I can't say the middle, because if we'd kept it going, it could have still been the beginning. But where we were at, we'd already introduced several villains that would probably match each other, and we had never really decided if there was even a hierarchy to these bad guys or not. They didn't care about one another; they just each had their own agenda. And it was a fantasy world. You had your elves, your we had a psychic at one point, because we wanted to do something other than magic user. We had thief, the rogue, or the main character's name was Nameless. His secondary character's name was Error, because he was basically, everyone considered he was a mistake. He was only a mistake in the sense that he probably should have died long ago, but the fact that he was alive was actually a good thing, because he was the rightful king to the end of the book's villain. He should have been the true king sitting there, not the villain. He'd taken the throne from his father, and he never even knew it. That was classic trope, you know. But the whole thing is, no one was ever. We never even got to that point. We never, because we weren't going to reveal that to the end. He just finds out it's his uncle. He's doing this. Like, wait, what do you mean? I'm supposed to be the king? He's like, yeah, your only real mistake was not being on this throne. That's it.
Sounds like a great series. Honestly, it would have been a great books.
The second book would have opened up everybody's eyes to what the world really was. They all land on another world below it.
Nice. Yeah, you start. Now you have a whole new series, right? Now you have this first series that leads into a second series. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we were just gonna have a whole new list of bad guys, and these were and their mission now was, we want to go home.
Yeah.
But we were going to come up with a whole new world at that point. I was like, oh my goodness, and we never got. We didn't get that far ahead with it because we were going to wait till we got there before we invented it. It was all on the fly anyway because it was mostly just him and me challenging each other with, okay, here they are. They're in a sand trap. Okay, their clothes were stolen. They woke up in a field not knowing where they are. They have no weapons, no armor, no clothing. Where do they go? No town's going to let them in because they're naked.
Out of the fire and into the frying pan on a consistent basis, huh?
And then zombies attack, and they're like, what do we do? Just run. It's just, so for this good chunk of the I don't remember how long we had him running for, but it was awful to the characters. Let us in. No. You're naked and there's zombies out there. We know. Let us in.
That's fantastic, man. That's fantastic.
Oh man.
So you said that like for your first stories were kind of in the middle school age. What was it like when you got into high school?
That's probably when I stopped writing. High school, I hated high school, and I had a hard time with it. But I was a geek. And I didn't know how. It was weird. I could go to camp and I could talk to people there, and I could get along with a lot of people, and I felt like I could fit in. But if I went to high school and tried the same thing, everyone's like, "What are you doing?" I felt like no one got me. I was like, "What in the world?" It's like I can't get along with anybody. Not this. I mean, I could sort of, but I couldn't really. I had my friends. I had good friends, the ones I had, but for the most part, I just found it hard to connect with some people, and I didn't know what to do to connect with those people, and I gave up at some point. So I just kind of and the teachers didn't help because you'd have people that would kind of pick on you. If you responded, the teacher would see that and you'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
But if they were doing it to you, the teacher would never see it, and you're like, well, don't start fights. That's not right. And I was like, unfortunately, I kind of bought into that, so I didn't really stand up for myself very well. And I should have stood up for myself because I found out that's actually the best way to deal with a bully. You stand up for yourself. And I think a lot of kids need to know that today. They don't need to be taught, no, don't do anything because fighting is wrong. They need to tell you they need to know when the right time is to fight if necessary. If possible, be clever. Because if you can be clever, then you can get back at the guy without really fighting. You can kind of do your own pranks or do your own. Let them know they ain't gonna get away without a little bit of pushback.
Right. Yeah. Real quickly, I want to say hello to Steve, who said, "Oh boy, it's the one-eyed bandit." Yeah. And also, good evening to Cindy, who's joining us from YouTube.
Hello, everybody. So I kind of, I think kids need to know how to stand up for themselves. I never really quite got being assertive. Every time I try to be assertive, people think I'm angry. Sometimes I am angry, but it's not always how I mean it, though. I mean, like today, I have the migraines and the headaches. So sometimes when I'm trying to be assertive, I'm trying to express myself in a sense that I don't feel good, and so I sound angry. I don't even know I do. But back then, I was just trying to. I felt like I was just trying to survive high school, and I just wanted to get through it, get it over with, be done with it. Like I said, I felt angry at some of the teachers because it felt like they kind of skipped over the troublemakers that were causing the trouble in order to just because some of these guys were, they were related to certain people who had certain standing in the community. They didn't get in trouble. At least that's how it felt. That's how it seemed. Whether some of that was true, some of it was my perception of it. I couldn't tell you which because it's been a long time ago. I stopped writing too because I also had a job too. I started working, and that made it harder to find time to write because by the time I hit college, when my friend and I wrote the one story, we did that after college, not during, because I found when I was in college, I was working, then doing schoolwork, and that was it. I think I dated one girl, and that was it. It was work, school, and then dating, and that tied up my time.
Yeah, so you use time management to your advantage. It was like, well, if I'm not getting into this try to be cool contest, I'll just go do my own thing and kind of
Yeah,
work out time management, which probably worked out great for you, right? I mean, I bet
yeah.
I got a wonderful blessings wandering around your home right now for sure.
Oh yeah.
Um, Cindy says hi to the tyke photobombing dad.
Yes. They've been doing that all night. But that's okay. That's okay. I like it.
Yeah, love it.
Yep.
So, as you're going through high school, is there any people that kind of stood out to you from school, or was outside? Or when you mentioned dating and stuff like that, so was there anybody that really stood out to you that was formative with you, or a good friend with you, or
I had I had a few friends, but I had good friends. I mean, there was a lot. I had at least I had a lot of I had a few guys. Like it wasn't like I was the only. I was just going alone, but you know they weren't they weren't in with those groups either. One guy, so I had two groups of friends. I had what you call maybe more your outcast crowd who were more on the outskirts than the others. Then there was the other group. They could get along with anybody and everybody liked them. They weren't really part of one group or the other, but man, they could people liked them. They were just it was just I can't even tell you how, and somehow I was in both of those groups, but I sometimes was well liked and sometimes I wasn't. It was just depending on how I seemed to rub people the wrong way or whether they liked me or not. I'd have some guys tell me, I really like you. I'm like, I don't know why. I don't know this guy at all. Who are you?
Aren't those the best interactions? Who are you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I knew the guy's name, but that was I mean, the face. You know, we were there, but it was like maybe that's why he liked me because we were both just there.
Yeah, experiencing it together. So one way or another.
But yeah, so that was funny. College was better. I liked college. That was when I discovered, I give these guys a little bit of pushback from what I used to consider being picked on, and the pushback actually got us into some interesting friendships, or me and them, and we'd end up playing games and stuff in their dorm rooms or whatever, and we just got to give it to each other. Like, man, I should have done this a long time ago. Just
just ripping each other. Yeah,
I should have ribbed them more. I probably would have been. That's probably all they were probably just testing the waters. How much does this guy get along with others? It took me that long to figure it out. So that's kind of how guys get along, you know. We give each other a hard time, and but yeah, so college went a lot smoother for me. I had a job at Kmart, and of course Kmart was closing a lot of stores at that time. And that actually helped me. That actually, believe it or not, helped me get into school because they had some programs back then. If your business closed and you were of a certain age and you were planning on that business was going to pay for, life, you could get some additional schooling paid for through what they had. What was it, JTPA, and that was sort of a system set up. I don't know how much I agree or disagree with it. Politically speaking, at the time of my life, it worked out great for me. And it wasn't a waste of money because it did get me back into the workforce. The whole idea was the government pays to get you educated so you get back in the workforce so you can pay taxes and put it back into the government.
Right.
I was like, okay. I guess that's an okay system. I don't know. I mean, there might be some other somebody better educated in politics might know if that's a good or a bad thing or not. Because part of me in the back of my mind thinks I don't really want the government doing that kind of a thing, but boy golly, that helped me. And it paid for a lot of schooling, and I got to go to school.
To be a net positive. So
yeah,
I'd say you have to get behind that.
Yeah, the problem, of course, it just relies on, is the person really going to do that? By the time they're done with school, are they really going to do that? And it did. So I got my computer training. They almost got me into robotics, which was more money, but I had no love for it.
Yeah, you got to do what you love, right?
I was like, I really want to do this, and they were like, well, but you already started these classes. The one I wanted wasn't available. It's like I started at this time because that was when the program put me into it. Then not enough people went into that program. And she's like, okay, we can do this, but they had to do something, and they got me into it. So I kind of had a little extra education under my belt, so I'm thankful for that. I didn't use a lot of it, but occasionally, when I first started, I did occasionally use it. I don't think I could use it today. The technology's changed too much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and the programs even back, I don't think that program they've ever had a program where they actually knew where they were going to be the next year, because the technology kept changing in subsequent years after I was there, and because they were basically teaching us older stuff like basic programming, just to give us the principles of it. Programming wasn't going to be our forte, but they wanted us to understand the basics of it. They said at some point and they taught us C+. And they said at some point you're probably going to come across something on a network where you're going to need to know this, even though you're not planning on being a software developer. So, and some of that I got through the robotic side of things, and some of it I got through the regular computer system side of things. And there was one class where I think the poor teacher was making it up on the fly, because he had no idea what he was going to teach. He had a book. He could teach us through that, but he says, this is not what the planned course was. He goes, it's just that they've updated it again because the technology is already, this is what we were going to teach you is now on the way out, and what I'm trying to teach you is on the way in, and we don't even know how long that's going to be here for.
Yeah, man, I couldn't. I think my level of programming was like Windows 2000. That's what I was like, the things that I can understand. So yeah, when you mention C++, I've heard that before. I've heard the term, but I'm like,
yeah, well,
okay, like I know you've gone outside of my realm of knowledge.
I get the impression the teacher that C+ course expected us to be more developer driven, but we weren't developers, because she taught it over in the other building, and she taught people there studying programming. I had such a hard time with that class. I couldn't figure out going forwards anything how to do the coding, but when I saw the code, I was like, I can take that apart and I can figure out how to put it together after that. And that's how I passed the class. And that wasn't cheating, because the whole point of it was she gave you everything. She said, now you tell me how to now you build the code and do it. And so it was up to us to take what she gave us, and I just backwards engineered her code as best as possible, and that's how I passed. Because then I was able to come up with something that sort of ran, and I was like, okay, I think I got something now. But when she tried teaching it to me, I couldn't get. And I was like, there's a guy named Kenny, and I never understood him until that moment. Because when it came to the math classes, he did the exact same thing, and I sat there going, I don't know how you're doing this, and now I get it. Because his brain however they were teaching it was not the same direction his brain went. He could take the whole equation, and he could redo all the math wrong, but exactly the right way. Because it was still an equation. He didn't break the rules of doing an equation. He just had to take the equation in a different order, in a different way, and he could solve anything. Anybody else could, but none of us could figure out how the heck he was doing it. He'd write it out. It was all on papers, and the teacher was looking at you, and they were like, "Yeah, that works." And I was like, "I'm taking his word for it, because I still don't get what you're doing." But that was crazy. But yeah, so we had like a mix of older adults who were displaced, who had lost their jobs, and we had younger kids that were just going out into the workforce at the community. It was a community college that we went to, and I went to school in one town and lived and worked in another town. That's where a lot of my time went, was driving and back and forth to wherever I needed to go. Sometimes then my work was Radio Shack, and sometimes they sent me to different places to work, depending on if they needed somebody
to explain Radio Shack to some of the younger viewers, because they have no clue.
It used to be a place where you could go and buy electronic components for your radios, computers, whatever electronics hobbyist you chose to be. At this time in the world, you could actually be not a hobbyist at playing games, but a hobbyist at working with equipment. You could build robots. You could build a CB radio, which would, I think, a transmitter radio. Yeah. So where you could broadcast your voice out into the night, and other people could talk back to you. We call it, I was going to say Skype, but that's out of date now. We call it Rumble today. And we all had these names that weren't really our names, or we called them handles, like Midnight Q and Revolver Broadcasting. So life hasn't changed at all, actually, now that I think about it. We just moved everything. Instead of broadcasting the air, we broadcast over that's the only step backwards. Instead of going over the air, we went to wires. Then we go over the air through our wireless in the house. But that's
Right.
yeah. So it's a little bit of like we took wireless and wired and mixed it together. But that's funny how that works. How the more things change, the more it stays the same. So think of it this way: if they made a store today where you could buy everything you needed to stream or to talk over the internet, and you made a hobby out of this, talking to people all over the world, I mean, it could connect you to the guys that did ham radio. They could broadcast because the signals would bounce off the atmosphere, and they could. These guys were good at what they did. I should have done some of that and learned some of that because I didn't. I don't know how it works now, how it actually works, but they bounce their signal through the atmosphere at different times of day, different times of the year. You could get all the way around the world with something in your house, not using any more or less power than you normally use. And you could talk to people in Kenya or wherever else, and they'd have a guy over there with a radio, and they could talk to you if you knew the same language. Maybe if you didn't, you learn Morse code, and then you can communicate that way. Yeah. Yeah, kind of like a phone, except it didn't cost you any extra money.
Yeah. Yeah, now they got those. There's those walkie-talkies you can do that with now too. They got handhelds that can do that now.
Yep.
They did do that. But what was that like working at each of those places, like with Kmart and with working at Radio Shack? What was it like working at those places?
Well, I didn't know Kmart was going to. The Kmart, they put me in electronics. I always liked electronics because of my affinity for video games, so they stuck me there. But I did other stuff. I worked with paint also. That could get messy, especially when the paint machine did not like you. Went everywhere one night. That was a terrible night. That was so you mix your, but in theory, the person picks their color, and you have measurements you add to your paint can and do all that. That didn't help me out with life at all. But it was an experience, and I tell you, it could get messy, but most of the time it went pretty good. But it was a little scary to me after the accident. The putting it in that machine, after you mix it up, you put it in the machine, and it would just shake the paint, so it would just get all mixed up. And then they'd go home, they'd paint their room, and if you didn't see them again, you did a good job. If they wanted more of the same color, you did a good job. So. So that was fun. But yeah, it was interesting because those, especially Radio Shack I got in college. Kmart was before college, and they both helped me with what I was studying was with my electronic stuff. And Radio Shack, actually, believe it or not, because and most of the older crowd will know what I mean by this. It always seemed like you'd always get somebody who didn't know what the heck they were talking about, and you'd be like, "Oh, brother, not gonna get through this guy who thinks he knows electronics because he works at Radio Shack." I'd explain to them, I'm in college. I'm learning some of the stuff. I'm trying to learn. Sometimes I just have to fess up. I don't know what you're doing, because this guy was beyond. Some of these guys that come in, they were beyond me in terms of what they wanted to put together. I was like, you just tell me what you want, and I'll get it. But so a lot of times what happened was I would learn from these guys, and some of the guys that came to work for Radio Shack, I'd learn from them if they knew what they're talking about. But they actually did give you training books. And I could use their training books to get trained up and get qualified for what their sales team, or more qualification for the sales team, I guess. And I don't remember what, but it was just a notch on your belt mostly. But it was actually real stuff. I could actually apply that to school, take the stuff I learned from school, take it back. And then after I got into the field, I actually worked in X-ray technology for a while, and about a year. And that all worked together because if I'd just done computers, that would not have helped me out with the X-ray machines at all. And I at least got me ready for some of that sort of stuff. Where before, the rest of it would have been a lot more guesswork if I didn't have that training. I don't know how to apply it to life outside of work though, because it was almost like when the Kmart closed, I wasn't sure. The school I wanted to go to a Bible college that closed down the same year my business the Kmart closed. And I was going, okay, so the plan I thought I was going to have, I thought God wanted for my life, that was a wake-up call, because I realized what I thought God wanted for my life was not really what God wanted for my life. It's like, how dare I tell God what I thought he wanted for me? I mean, not really. I mean, maybe that's how it could have been approached. I don't know if how dare you is really
Yeah.
how God was coming with it, but sometimes a person needs that kind of a wake up call. I needed that kind of a wake up call, and so I was like, okay, so my life is going to be entirely different than I thought it was going to be, and it was. But I'm glad it did because I like it. It was a weird road here, but I got here. I actually met before I met my wife, Amanda. I say her name online once in a while too. So I think did I say we say her name once in a while. But before I met her, I met another gal I thought I was going to marry, and that was not who I ended up getting married to. And that's so I'm glad it didn't work out now, but back then I was heartbroken.
As it always is in the moment, right?
Yeah. There's never anybody else. I'm gonna die alone. I'll need to get me a cat or a dog. I'm not a cat lady, so maybe a dog. I had the best dog, man. I had a Jack Russell Terrier. I loved him. I miss him. He's been gone a while now, but
fantastic dog, energetic, very smart.
Yes, and that dog, he only chewed up one of my things, and that was only because it fell on the floor at the wrong place at the wrong time. But you could tell nothing stopped this dog from chewing up anything. If he wanted it chewed, it was chewed. At some point he started to chew on it, then stopped and left it alone. And I was like, "What the heck?" I said, "You're a smarter dog than you let on."
That's a pretty good track record for a terrier. So
yeah, I know. I was like, dude, I would buy him chew toy after chew toy because he would. I hate to say that he ate them, but I think he ate them. I don't know if that's not real. I threw them away, but I don't know how he tore all of them up. And they're like, "Oh yeah, for strong chewers, like, do you have anything stronger than this?" They're like, "What are you talking about? That's the strongest one we got." I said, "You need something stronger."
Yeah.
Have you tried a Kong with a treat in it? I don't want to see him eat the Kong.
Yeah, because then you have to pick out all the little red bits out of their poo.
Yeah. I couldn't. I just like, you need something stronger than this. He'll eat through it. I can't leave him alone with it.
Fantastic. Well, so you were heartbroken before, how is it that you meet your wife?
Oh my goodness. So that has to go back a little bit before I met my wife, because otherwise she wouldn't have had nothing to do with me. Sometime after I broke up with the one gal, excuse me.
It's okay. It's
just gravity. Okay. Just something fell. I wasn't sure what or who it landed on. So I'm kind of heartbroken over her, and I was having a hard time getting over that. But I hit a bad point in my life where I was no longer going to church. I wasn't going to church for a while, and I'd stopped I don't know when I stopped. I don't remember purposely waking up one day and saying, "I'm going to stop going to church," but I did. And I still considered myself a Christian the whole time, which, okay, that's fair. You can, but at the same time, I still considered that. But I hit a point where the temptations were too strong that I was like, why am I fighting this? I don't go to church. I don't do anything a Christian would do. I was like, do I really believe it? And I was like, I was kind of at the point where I was like ready to just say, okay, I'm going to stop feeling guilty about it. Have you ever accepted your sin before? You're not supposed to do that. And it was almost like God said, that's not the way you're going. And I know this because I came down with jaundice, and I turned yellow, and everything they wanted to ask me about was what is it they call it? Jaundice isn't the disease; it's the result of something. But everything that was a result of, I would have had to basically have had some physical relationship with somebody actively, and one thing I had waited for. I was waiting for marriage. That was one thing I was just taught to do. I may have went too far in some cases, but I never went all the way. I'm sorry. I hope that was okay to say. I don't know what our age range here is, but I'd never gone all the way, and that's like that would require one thing. As I'm not doing that. The doctor was like, well, we don't know what is causing this, and you don't have any kind of, there's no STDs here, there's no reasons for any of those, and you don't have anything. They said all we know is that you have jaundice. So they sent me up to Iowa City because at that time they didn't have the facilities here to take care of me. So they sent me up there, and I'm in pain. My whole body hurts, and Dad's driving me, and I remember this car trip was. It felt like we had no shocks in the car. Every time Dad hit a bump, I felt it, and I thought, this has got to be my punishment. God's punishing me for finally just walking away. And I'm like going, I'm done. Because I didn't know where I was going to go see these doctors, sure, but I was like, this hurts. Everything hurt. I don't, my feet hurt, my back hurt, my legs hurt. This isn't from being old. I was 20 something. Everything just hurt. And I just like, God, you got to help me do something, please. Mm-hmm. And they get me there to the hospital, and Dad's looking for a spot to park, and it's just packed. He's like, well, I'm just going to park, and I'm going to get you a wheelchair, and I'll wheel you in. And all I could think of was the car right up there was a pain. I didn't know if I wanted to sit in a wheelchair. So all I could think was every bounce in a wheelchair is going to hurt too. And there was an open spot with a wheelchair sitting right in it when we got there. I said, well, that's a miracle. And I felt like, I don't believe, I know that when the dead die, they don't come back. I know they go there, they stay there, they go to heaven, they stay there. Or they go to hell and they stay there, they don't come back. But I felt like my grandpa's presence was there. And that was, I tell you, but my grandpa would always pray, and I was like, I know why this has to feel like my grandpa, because it's the same one my grandpa spent so much time with, had to be the Lord. And I believe in the Lord's presence. Mm-hmm. And I knew the Lord had to be there. And I was just like, I don't know why you care about me like this, because I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
He reminded me, we never do anything to deserve it. It's grace. I spent that whole night praying. I don't remember sleeping much that night. And when the lady came in the next day, she comes in and tells me, the nurse, not just random lady, but she starts telling me all sorts of instructions. I have no idea what she's talking about. I said, ma'am, what are you telling me? She goes, when you go home, you have to do these things. I was like, why are they sending me home? I don't even know what I have yet. She goes, you got your orders this morning. You have to go. She says, you've got to follow those instructions we gave you. I said, I have not received any instructions. I said, I'm the jaundice patient. She looked at me and she goes, you are? She goes, I was here last night when you came in, and you look like a completely different person now. And I'd never, my entire life, I'd always wondered, does a person really change that much when they get saved? She didn't even recognize me. She'd seen me. She got me in there, and I kind of vaguely remembered her. I wasn't really thinking too clear when they brought me in, because I was doing so bad. But I was feeling a lot better, but I was still kind of sore. But I was then realizing that after I'd asked God for help all night long, He gave it. And I decided I wasn't going to go back to doing what I was doing. And I started going back to church again. And that was, oh my goodness, that was a change. Pastor comes to me and goes, you never come back. He says, I know you used to go to church all the time. He says, you've been to church weeks. What's going on with you? And I told him what was going on. And so God did amazing work that night. And I tell most people, I said, I think that's the night I was either really saved or I experienced a true revival in the sense of the word, because I was dead, and now I live.
Yeah, gave you a new lease.
Yeah, because I'm certain if I had decided no, if it was up to me, the famous last words of anybody. But I think if I had not asked God for help, I was done, because I felt like I was dying. I felt like something inside me was going. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, maybe there's a reason they get left with these migraines. Maybe they remind me of that. Don't do that again. or maybe remember what happened for you. I don't know. That's about when they started. I don't have a good idea when they started. They just kind of eased it. They kind of came in slowly. I didn't even know I was having migraines at the start, but that may not have anything to do with it either. It's just a thought I've had in passing. I don't know.
We'll definitely continue to pray for those to be removed, because I mean, you're on our prayer list, and
Thanks.
as you know, I have there's my phone goes off generally every day, like ping, 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 like messages right here. Look, see messages.
Oh yeah, there you
So,
are.
and people say, "You must be popular. You must be popular." I said, "No, I'm not popular. God's popular." I said, a lot of these messages are people telling me they prayed. They went to the website, they read the names, and they prayed for everybody by name. So they went down that
Whoa.
prayer list, and they pray for everybody by name every single day. Every single day. And it's more than 50 people. I'll tell you that right now.
Wow.
So we got some fantastic prayer warriors. And I know with Rumble specifically, we just hit 400 followers today. But it's like, okay, well, that's that's a percentage there that, hey, we can make that number higher, folks. Well, if you're watching, listening, just hit that website, revolverbroadcasting.com, and hit that prayer list, but in the news chambers. But for the 50 plus people that do message me every single day, that's always an encouragement to know. It's like, hey man, people like yourself and Cindy can tell you, she sent the emails. I mean, it was the next day. She was emailing us back saying, we put in the prayer request and we got a praise report today. Like,
awesome. That's awesome.
So, as you know, God, you just said, I mean, God to change it, and He can change this too. And
Yeah,
I
He can.
Full belief and expect. Matter of fact, I expect that He's going to change it.
Yeah, I'm believing. I'm beginning to believe that myself. There's a time I didn't think so, but I'm starting to. There's still about a week when I had a week where it was a good week. I didn't have any migraine. I was like, well, it's gone, but it did come back. But it was but I have had some better moments coming. They just kind of come and go. Yeah, so that's kind of yeah. Well, so anyway, in the process of getting saved, I had to tell that story before I talked about getting with my wife, because she was a Christian before we met, and she wouldn't have had anything to do with me if I wasn't saved. So, because that was one of her requirements for her husband.
Yeah.
But it's like that spiritual battle is very real also. When God's making his move, the devil's he's not quite done yet. I can't wait until he is. But I also know it's over at that point. So I kind of want people that haven't been saved yet to come and get saved too. So I don't want that time to run out for them. But when I met her, I met another girl at the same time. Another, and she and I were actually going to the same church, but I didn't know. I was kind of like, at that point, I was content being single. I wasn't that I was done looking. I just was no longer. God had kind of taken care of that whole heartbrokenness I had over the previous girlfriend, where I always felt like I couldn't go on with life anymore. But I was just kind of like, okay, I'm okay being single. I'm okay waiting. And then all of a sudden, now that I was okay with it, he was saying, okay, look, here's options. But I didn't expect two women at once. And I didn't know how to handle that. I was like, what the heck is going on? Because I told him, I said, and I was trying to be as clear as possible. I'm not looking for anything right now. I said, I don't mind hanging out. I don't mind doing stuff. But I says, I don't really want a girlfriend yet. And they, excuse me, I'm sorry about this. One's from crying, but two, my allergies are going nuts too.
Daddy,
hey,
I'm glad that you choose my mommy.
I am too.
That's so sweet.
My kids are the best. Just ask any parent; their kids are all the best, and I believe all of them.
I believe,
especially after having my own. I understand that sentiment exactly.
From what I've seen, they are fantastic.
Thank you. Oh, so they so I ended up I just knew it was Amanda, and I hated telling that to the other gal because I was like, because I knew that she had been looking for a while and she was kind of in a similar boat I was before, and I was like, she always had a rough time. I don't even know. I lost track of talk with her because churches have closed and people have kind of gone different ways, and so I don't even know where they're all at now. I used to keep up with people on Facebook, but I stopped using. Well, I'm still on Facebook, but I only use it to share pictures with family and friends that still want to keep up with some family events.
Right.
But I'm hardly on it. I don't enjoy Facebook like I used to. It got bad during COVID, and I was tired of always being told everything you post is wrong. It's like, no, it's not. Come and say it to my face. Whoever's writing this junk, of course, it's just their computer system.
Yeah.
It's like, just don't automate this to me. You come here and tell me that. Let me argue with you face to face. And then but it's terrible because I'd have people before we were having a decent debate would be like, see, you're wrong. And then that's the end of the conversation. It's like, no, I'm not. Like, well, you posted something that didn't include all the context with it, just like the thing said you did. I said, they left out this context right here. Do you really need me to repeat everything that they just said in their context that they're claiming is missing because you don't know it? No, but you still left it out. Why do I need to include that? Well, because someone might read just what you said and think that's all there is. No one's going to think that because they've heard about everything else everywhere else. And that line of reasoning didn't go with anybody. There's or not with anybody, but with the people who just simply didn't want to include the additional information I was offering, of course. But it's like I'm not trying to say stuff out of context. I'm just saying, here, add this to the context you're talking about. I said their article that corrects mine doesn't even list what mine says regarding for context. They're leaving context out. I said, by the way, Facebook, I know you're reading this. How do you explain that? And I had one or two times where Facebook backed. I don't know how their systems worked, but I had one time they removed their tag from what I said, that it was fake news, and they took it off because I had said something like that. I was mad at the system, and I was like, but I had to leave. I was like, I'm getting mad at a computer that doesn't care. Yeah. It's like, and I'm getting and friends, or quote unquote friends, people. I mean, most people I knew in Facebook, I either knew in real life or I got a fly bother me. But I either knew them in real life or I spent enough time in the groups that we shared that I knew them pretty good, that I knew they were real people. They weren't like just trolling me or nothing. But the only reason I'm still on Facebook is for the guys that I did get to know and the people I do know for real. But the rest of it was just kind of like, I just don't enjoy the platform anymore. I'd much rather just be having fun on Rumble rather than. Oh, that's what I asked a few people. It's like if you come on here and debate with me about this, I said, why are you doing that? I said, you want to have. You sound like you want to have a conversation, but nothing I say convinces you. They said, well, you never give me any argument. I said, I've given you plenty of arguments. Well, it doesn't convince me. I said, that doesn't matter if I convince you or not. You asked me about it. I'm telling you why I believe it. The end.
Yeah.
That's why I believe it. Yeah. I don't care if you believe it or not. That's why I believe it. And they're like, well, it's not convincing me, so it can't be. I was like, what do you? I was like,
or we can just agree and disagree, and it's okay.
I was like, you want me to run everything past you before I make any decisions? Because I mean, I can do that. I can wake you up in the middle of the night. By the way, I'm thinking of buying a home, but I want to make sure it's okay with you first. Yeah. I need to make sure you're convinced I should do this. I was like, I don't need.
You're not for sure if we want teak wood or cedar in the kitchen.
Yeah. So when I started arguing that way, I started losing friends. But I also was my way of finally not just taking it on the chin, I guess. For some of those guys had done that before, and I'd always just taken it because like whatever. But I was just kind of like, eh. I know what it was. It was actually, some of it was the migraines got used for that purpose. Because if I didn't stand up for myself, my wife can tell you, I'd sit there and talk about it. I sometimes still, I have a bad habit with, I don't know if it's headaches, personality, just whatever. Sometimes something brings something to mind, and I think I start to go through it in my head again. No, that's over. Let it go. And other times it runs in my head for a little while until it runs its course and it's just out. But I don't know if other people do that or not. I think some other people do. That's just my experience with it. But there's other times like with the headaches. I mean, you can probably even tell now if I repeat myself, a lot of that's because of the headaches. Some of it's because I get small distractions and I got to repeat myself to get myself revved up in the same direction again.
Yeah, wiggly distractions all around behind you, waving at the camera.
Yeah. So if I gotta get that engine rolling. And it's like, okay, let's get this thing going up the hill.
I think I can.
Yep.
Yeah. So you met your wife at church as well, or
Actually, so I met her at Hardy's, and at the time I was starting to question something's going on at the church I was going to, and originally my pastor was going to marry us, and he told us at one point. I want to be a little careful. I don't want to cast shade on him. I liked him. He was a good guy, but at the same time, we all have our issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just leave it at that. But I was noticing a few things there, and I wasn't too happy with the way some things were going. And I thought something's a little funny here, but I don't really know how to put my finger on it. And but I started talking with her pastor and stuff, and we ended up having her pastor marry us, and then we ended up going to her church after we got married. So we were actually going to two different churches, but I liked her church. Her church, her church reminded me of some of the churches I got into when I was a little kid, and I really enjoyed that because I was like, man, if we get married and we start having kids, this would be great. Unfortunately, we ran into some issues there too, but we were kind of questioning about. You ever run into the Circle Maker?
I'm not.
There's a book that someone wrote a few years back called The Circle Maker. The problem I have with it is it's not based on the Bible. It's based on other Jewish writings that are not old. They're not the Old Testament. They're just other writings. It's about a guy who basically makes a circle, prays, and because he made a circle around it, if he prayed in that circle, then he could basically get his prayers to come the way he wanted true. It's essentially the book. I'm summing it up very poorly. There's more to the process than that, but that's what my bad memory remembers about it. Our pastor started teaching from that, and I was like, that's not biblical though, because God can answer. I mean, he's like, oh yeah, he can answer prayer without the circle. Then why are we teaching this?
Yeah.
And I just started thinking about, and I was like, where in the Bible does it teach to pray? Well, he's like, we just need to teach the persistence of it. Then teach that.
Yeah.
But, and I loved her. I love that pastor too. I probably loved him a little more than the previous one that I had got to. But there was just something there that he really liked about it, and something that I really hated about it.
Well, yeah, I can see the unsoundness of the doctrine, right?
Yeah.
You viewed Morning Word enough to know it's like you just said. Well, what does the Bible say about it? Like that's the only argument you need if you're talking to somebody who's, and so it's not even it's not an attack against that pastor. It's a correction saying, hey, look, let's go with what the word says.
I was hoping that's how it would be perceived, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
And at the time I was really fighting at the time my migraines were getting really bad too. And like I said, I come off as angry even when I'm not.
Right.
And and I know that they thought some of that was me being angry, but it's like, there was people there. They're like, well, you're not coming to church. Like, we might listen to you more, but you're not coming to church anymore like you used to. I was like, I have migraines. Well, do you miss work like this? Like, yeah, I do. I have FMLA. I was like, it's just that the week, it was probably hitting me more. It was hitting me. I was probably recovering more on the weekends. That's why I was missing more. I don't make church every Sunday. But it's not because I don't want to. It's not because I don't want to be there now. It's because I just can't. Or if I was, well, right now. So our church we're at now is kind of they are actually kind of like us. Where they kind of came out of a few other churches, and they all just kind of came together and they made up. It came out of the United Methodist Church when they went sideways with some of their beliefs and doctrines, which they've been doing that for a while. Both of the churches I went to before had come out of that church and done basically because they saw them going sideways before. I won't say that's the true with every individual United Methodist Church. I never say that because there's always that possibility that the pastor, there's the individual, and there's the individual congregation. You have to take it by ear there, but doctrinally of the whole of the organization as a whole, it went sideways, which is why there were some people leaving it. And so this group primarily was from that group, and they made it's another Methodist group. I can't think of which one is it. Do you remember? Is it World Methodist? Yeah. Global Methodist. Okay. Trinity Global Methodist. Okay. I'm my brain. That's the bad thing is we talk about this once in a while and I still forget it. I can't. It's not a name that sticks with me very well.
Pastor is a district superintendent, and he has to go to meetings in like South Africa.
He has to go to meetings in South Africa sometimes. Our pastor does, or South America, just because they do have other churches around the world, and there's a lot of travel involved, I guess. But yeah, they see the kids and my wife there every Sunday, and I get there as much as I can. And sometimes they post their services online so I can watch them. Sometimes they don't, and sometimes I'll watch another church service, and it just depending on what I can get online at the time. So that's how I kind of get spiritually fed. If I have to do it online, I will. I'd prefer being there in person myself. But let's see. But but like I said, they came out of a few other churches. They had people that had their churches close. Because like I said, so and then some of them had their churches where they had some spiritual discernment issues with, and they just ended up there. And there's some questionable stuff, but no church is perfect. We basically talk about it. They listen. They talk about stuff. We listen. We try to at least discuss it. try to appeal. Sometimes people listen. Sometimes people don't. But I don't. Yeah, well, like my wife said, we don't have to pick a fight every time. It definitely is. It has a different. It's a little more accepting of it, as far as letting us have that debate goes.
Yeah.
And that's better than just being shut down completely and feeling like you don't have anywhere to go with it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And no, so you met your wife.
Yeah, met her at Hardee's. so she says I'm reading my Bible or I'm reading a Christian book, and she's like, "That's a man I could marry." And she takes me. Oh no, she didn't take me out. Where were we at Smoky Row? Or no, we were at the church. One of the church parties for New Year's Eve. She gives me a little kiss on the cheek. And
it took so much courage.
And she was not the kind of girl to do that. She doesn't she doesn't just kiss on the cheek and everybody. She's not like that with anybody. And she said that, like, she'll tell everybody it takes so much. I don't know if you heard her, but she said it took a lot of courage.
I heard her. Yeah.
Okay. I never. It's weird. These are noise canceling headphones. Sometimes you can't hear nothing from it, and sometimes you hear absolutely everything. That's not me laughing. That's how he really laughs too. So that wasn't just a voice he was doing. So anyway, so she kisses me on the cheek, and I took her out, and then I gave her a kiss on the forehead or the cheek. I didn't push it any further than that time. But oh man, you would have thought that I just shot her. I was just like, what? Was it Smoky Row? Yeah, it was Smoky Row.
You kissed me on the lips.
I kissed you on the lips.
The only other boy I've ever kissed on the lips was my little brother.
If I kissed her on the lips, I missed. I probably got outside myself, and I'm sorry for that. But that was no, I'm not. I'm married her, so I'm happy. I didn't remember that right. I thought I took it easy on her. But yeah, okay. Anyway, no wonder she took it that way. Like I shot her. But yeah, I thought, okay, well, I must. I was like, I'm sorry. What did I do? She's like, no, I never kissed anybody like that before. I was like, I don't have an answer for this. Because I already told the other one no, and now I kissed you, and you're saying no back to me, and I don't know where I'm going to go. But I'm going to, because I guess I'll just go home.
Go home and
Play some
get that
Tetris.
dog I was talking about.
Yeah. So she somehow life became a hurricane after that. It was like DuckTales. So it's kind of like, oh my goodness, it was definitely a whirlwind. I don't know. Hey Ty, could you give me some water? I'm out, but thanks. So I don't. It was a whirlwind after that. I feel like it just. I wish I could slow time down, and because so I could spend more of it here, and the migraines don't help because for once I kind of want. It's like for part of my life in high school has made me feel like I didn't want to spend time around a lot of people, and now I'm kind of wanting to do that, but I can't because of the headaches or the migraines, and time is just like when I do have those moments, I want it to stay longer. The kids are growing up too fast. My life with her is going too fast. If I could just stop it for a smidge, but at the same time, I also know wherever God's taking us, He's in the driver's seat now, and that's we're going to get there together, and we'll maybe we won't get there together, but we'll definitely end up at the same place eventually, and that'll be good.
Absolutely. So, after you kiss her on the lips and she looks at you like you shot her, and then you said life got kind of quite crazy.
Well,
how does it come back around to where now she's back in life? Was it like the next day, or like how does that work?
Oh yeah, it wasn't that long. She just had to process it, but eventually so I ended up going way slower than her after that because that was for me because I wasn't sure how fast I wanted to go either, and it wasn't like it was just this tiny kiss on the lips. It wasn't anything serious anything. It was something serious, but it wasn't something
Yeah.
But it was so then it's like so we're talking with her pastor, and he's like, well, you should know when you want to get married. He's talking like marriage. Like I just thought we'd date. Then I'd think about marriage. I was like, do I need to be considered? And I was like, you know what? He's got a point though. If I'm not thinking marriage now, like is this a girl I want to marry? Then why am I trying to pursue her? And I thought I was like, I think too many times we just want to have a good time. And up to that point, that's how I kind of perceived relationships. And up to that point, so did everybody else. And it kind of matched up with what so there was. I'm sorry, I did skip over a girlfriend there between the previous one and my wife. I did skip over one. I didn't mean to do that. Something her dad said got to me one time, and because I was she just asked me about buying a car one time. And I was like, yeah, sure, okay, yeah, I think that's an all right thing to do. And he got on me about it. He's like, you're not married to her. You're not her husband. Why are you telling her? He says you're trying to help her with a major purchase. Like I didn't put much thought into it. I just thought it's her decision. I was like, but what got me was that was before the salvation experience, but it was something that kind of got me thinking about something like he had if it had been my daughter, I might have been reacting this. It wasn't even it was his stepdaughter, but he behaved in a good way. I just wasn't ready for that. And it made me angry because I was like, I didn't think I stepped out of bounds, but I was like, maybe I did. And then I had to consider that. I was like, so what her pastor said rang with what I was thinking back then was, if I don't see myself being with her in the future, why am I continuing to date her? I mean, I don't want to string her along. I don't want to string myself along.
Yeah.
And so that kind of, and so what he was saying was, I was like, okay, so let me think about this before we get serious. Like, is she someone I really do want to be married? Like, yeah, she is. She reads her Bible. She believes it, which is more than I can say for some of the gals that I dated. And at this point I was saved. And so I was wanting that more for me too. She was actually a Bible college student. So she actually she's got a little, and so she was able to link onto certain things. She has a much better memory than me. So when I'm having trouble remembering stuff, especially for what she says for the Bible, you have much memory. Well, that's true. There is some memory issues about other things. So God helped us out by sometimes I remember things better than her, and sometimes she remembers things better than me. And I do this because this is how I remember things, by using my hands. In my mind, I'm going through my paperwork. But the oh, thanks, Ty. That was so yeah. So when I was like, and I knew that I needed that in my life. I knew I needed her in my life. I knew I needed what she was. I'm being attacked by a tank now. Oh, I think I just broke my chair. Excuse me a minute.
Sure, certainly.
Nope. No, we're good. We're good. Nothing a little glue won't fix.
Yeah.
Nope. You got it? It might be good if he actually does it. He's got it. He's got it. Careful, you can't go down. You gotta. He got it. That's his grandpa and him. Her dad. He can fix a lot of things. He built the cabinet behind me too. Not my son, but but her dad did. Amanda's dad did. So anyway, yeah, I gotta be careful when I move like that. It's an old rocking chair, but I'm unfortunately I'm unhinged. It's got we got a bit of a mess behind me. We're sorting through things, and it needs a little better sorting, but we'll get there.
Yeah, your house is lived in. It's all good.
Yeah. It's lived in and played in.
That's right.
By all the kids and by me. But yeah, so where were we on that question before I about fell out of my chair?
So you were talking about how you met her and you knew you needed her in your life and
yeah. So
marriage.
So I said finally, I was like, yeah, I said, yeah, I said I do see myself marrying her one day, and that scared me because I was like, is that really what I want to do? Because I mean, I thought that like that once before, that didn't go so hot, and so I was like taking it slow, but I asked her dad. I made her wait until I got the ring, and my mom and dad, oh my goodness, they gave us my grandparents' first set of wedding rings.
Oh,
wow.
wow.
I think it was the first set. Was it the first set? It was the first set. They had a couple of sets, and so oh, she's gonna show you.
Nope. Kind of saw it. There we go. Okay, yeah.
Pull back just a little bit. The focus is a little weird if you get too close. Yeah. So it's just a teeny tiny little diamond.
Hey.
And
nice though.
So, but yeah, it was my grandparents' first set of rings, and then I had to get down on my knees. She's like, "You don't have to do this," and I was like, "Yeah, I do." I said, "I need to ask, otherwise we can't do it." And I figured, okay, I said I already had to talk to your dad. I was like, "We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this way too." And yeah, we didn't have to do certain things. I went through the whole shebang, and then she said yes, and I was like, "Okay, cool. Now we're engaged." And then her pastor suggested we wait a few years after we're married to start really worrying about having kids. But obviously, if it happened before that, it wasn't like we weren't violating your rules at that point after we're married. But
gee, Pastor, 9 months to the day, and
well, they wanted us to take time to have the time together without kids, but like I said, it all went so fast. It's like I just can't believe how fast it all went. I can't believe how. I mean, they all started off this little itty bitty thing that you just hold like this, and next thing you know, they're huge.
And depending on you for the rest of their lives. Like, I mean, even after they get up to be old enough and move away, they still need mom and dad.
Yeah.
You know
it? Yep. Oh man, I mean, and I'm just like, dude. So at some point, yeah. So I've been kind of sharing with them. It's kind of funny because, like I told her what he was like. He wanted to call me Daniel when he was 2 or 3, and he's talking like he's like a much older person at this point, trying to use a lot of reason. But like she said, he wasn't talking too well because he had to go through. They've all had some level of speech therapy. I had speech therapy when I was growing up. I I still probably could use speech therapy sometimes. If I just need, a lot of times I can fix that if I just slow down a little bit. He's laughing. I don't talk about that too much. But I used to call football. I couldn't say football for anything. I used to say jute ball. But if someone were to put them together and I heard both, I thought I would tell you that it was the same. I was hearing the same thing. Between jute ball and football, I couldn't tell the difference. As far as I knew, I was saying it right. So when people told me I was telling it wrong, I was like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, because it sounds like you, right?
To me, yeah. To me, I was 5. How old was I? 6 or 7, I think, about that point. So I had a very patient speech teacher go through, and she went through the different sounds slowly, and that helped me to focus on the different sounds and how it should sound. They do something similar. They're still doing something similar today. But I was like, wow. I was like, sometimes you just need somebody other than your parents to help you out, because moms and dads let you get away with certain things when it's not morally wrong to say jute ball. It's cute. It's funny. We laugh at it.
Yeah.
But when you don't grow out of it, then it's a problem.
Yeah, and a lot of times, when we learn something as a kid, it's easier to hear it from somebody who's not mom and dad, because there's the presuppositions you have about like what their motives are.
Yep.
His mom and dad. They're like, well, I think mom and dad is trying to get one over on me. That you don't think about them actually trying to teach you something, and then when somebody else says it, you're like, oh, that makes perfect sense. And it's like, we've been telling you that till we were blue in the face.
Yeah. So I don't know what I noticed about being in Sullivan, and this is funny when it comes to speaking, and this is totally related. There's 2 accents there. My mom's side of the family has one accent. My dad's side has more like what we got for accents. But that left her with saying words a certain way, and I couldn't even say it. Now sometimes that comes out of me. I can't, like oil. She can't. I shouldn't have said that. She's gonna shoot me. Well, it was a nice life. So I gotta bank on her deafness right now. So yeah, but Dad would always try to get her to say it, and she'd be like, "No, I'm not saying it." Now I couldn't say that. I couldn't say that the way she says it for nothing. But she can't say oil the way we say it for nothing either. That's one word she avoids. Now, so other words she can say it, but if she gets going, her accent might kick in. Occasionally, I have the same accent, and I might say words the same way she would say it, and you'll hear that in me, and I'm like, when did I learn to say it that way? Well, I mean, obviously I'd have to learn it somewhat from her, but I'm surprised but when I grew up here, everybody else never did say it that way, so I had to learn it. So I learned it the other way, but I somewhere in me still the other way to do it.
No, yeah, I can relate to that, because I know with like, I grew up with, oh, hey, C-Fam, welcome in.
Hello.
Very like the Hoosier accent, right? The Midwest accent, as you know.
Yeah.
But then, which is like, very north. Still, just a little bit of that, don't you know, type of thing. There's still a little bit of catching that, but then of course being raised with my dad, but you've seen him on Revolver Broadcasting stuff before. He sounds very Southern, even though he's a Hoosier too.
That's kind of where my mom's accent goes. It sounds Southern, like it's its own Southern accent it's Southern without being Southern.
Yeah, and that comes from like, because both my dad's parents are originally from Tennessee, and then they transplanted up here, up north of Indianapolis, and so they both even today still have a little bit of the twang, and that's what my dad grew up always hearing his parents with, that little bit of that Tennessee twang, and so he still has that, and from time to time he'll say something, I'll go, oh, it's a twang. It's a twang. Don't rap on Dad about that. That's just.
But see, like you said, the Hoosier accent. I didn't hear that growing up, so I didn't know about. Like I don't know the Hoosier. I don't know it's called the Hoosier accent, or I don't know got this. I was calling it the Southern accent, but some people gave me that look like, "Are you sure it's Southern?" Like that's what I would call it. But that's. But I was only figuring that out for myself. I couldn't go to somebody else and say, "Hey, is this Southern to you?" Because I was in Iowa, where we had where there was its own mix of accents going on.
Yeah.
With the colleges in the area, we had a. It's weird how we always got the colleges always seem to get. They got more students from California than they got from most other places, so you had kind of this influx of Californian stuff going on too at the same time with everything else. Now they're coming from different areas with as well. One college is closed, and the other college is really getting more people from lots of different places. So that's bringing in a lot of cultures here. But that's
whole other story for another day.
yeah. But the accent, I kind of remember when I went to camp. There's a mix of accents, and sometimes it's kids' accents when you're talking that in that larger group of kids. They'd all get mixed up by the end of the week. Then you'd have this one weird accent coming out, and then it would all disappear by the time you got back to camp the following year because it got pushed out of you from going back home. But I think I tend to pick up accents. I don't mean to. I mean, I don't pick them up well. That's the problem. So it sounds like I'm mocking the accent. I'm not trying to.
Mhm.
I just do it. And it's like I'm not trying to mock you here. It's just it's me, okay? I'm like a sponge. I soaked it up. It's coming out, and it's still coming out wrong.
I thought it was a form of flattery. That's I mean,
imitation is a form of flattery. So it's the greatest flattery. So So yeah, I was because I found myself talking with one person's accent one time. And I, oh no, I'm not doing that right at all. And so I stopped it because I was like, once I got aware of it, I was able to kind of put a kibosh on it. But I was like, that was not a good accent for me.
well, at least you didn't hop on here and be like,
Don't.
like, hello, my name is Midnight Q. Like, I mean, you didn't say that. I mean,
Hey, I love a poo, and now that one I do imitate on purpose because it's a poo, and he's a great character.
yeah.
And I still think they did his area wrong, but I also think he should have said no or something to it. But oh well.
Yeah.
At least he stayed on with the show. But that would have been weirder with him being gone. But that was.
So you guys decided to get married, and
Yeah, we got married.
and you got this wedding
So we got married.
ceremony?
Yep. What? We got married the same year. Was it the same year Obama took office? It was a year after we got engaged. But I remember something about the certificate you were. Anyway, so there was some issues with because they were introducing homosexual marriage during that year.
Oh yeah, that was one applicant too.
And the reason I remember it so well is because it had upset her. Well, but it was the point that she's like, I don't want that on the certificate for us. And I was like, well, obviously we're not homosexual, but
Right.
the kids are evidence of that.
High evidence.
But the whole point that it was actually on the forms we were filling out kind of upset her. And I remember she's like, oh, they got that. I can't remember if that was on the forms or if we just got in there before they put it on the forms.
The lady at the courthouse who got the paperwork for us didn't like it either.
Yeah, but I remember that came up during when we were signing all the stuff for them after the wedding.
Yeah, because they changed it to applicant 1, applicant 2, as opposed to
Yeah. That was the whole point. Was like, oh yeah, that was it. That was the whole lack of groom and bride.
Yeah, because there was that woman in Kentucky who worked at a city county building where she didn't want to issue the marriage certificates, the paperwork to apply for marriage certificates rather, and she got in big trouble, and there was a whole big lawsuit and everything, and she ended up with a big settlement from the city in Kentucky, but she wasn't able to return to that job. So
they take care of you by not letting you go back to work.
Right.
They can't make you do it, but they you don't have to work here either. So it's like, oh, well, really? Then it's a weird mix. She has the right to say no, and then she suddenly doesn't.
Yeah. But God brought you two together, and then you start having kids. I mean, how soon does that come along?
So it was about 2 years, because he was born. So we were about 2000. Let me think for a second. We both. Okay, so this is where me and my wife like I said, we compliment each other on remembering things the other one doesn't. This is the one area we both don't compliment each other on. We don't remember the dates of our own wedding and stuff like that. Or we remember the day, like May 2nd, but we don't remember the years very well. But anyway, by 2012, he's born. Then another 2 years, the girl. Oh my goodness, my oldest daughter, Opal, she was born in the house in the bathtub because she wakes me up. She says, the baby's coming. You need to wake up now. So I'm like, okay, I'll go get the car ready. And when we did it with him, I just was doing it the way we did it with him. I got the car ready. She was getting her stuff ready. She comes. I don't remember. She called me on the phone or she yelled at me. I get back in. Oh no, it was after I got back inside from starting the vehicle because Opal, it was summertime, so it wasn't cold. With him, it was snowing. So I get back inside. She goes, the baby's coming. I said, I know. I got the car started. She goes, no, you don't understand. The baby's coming now. I was like, what? It's 3 or 4 in the morning, so I'm still waking up, and I just got the car started, and I'm trying to deal with the whole. What do you mean the baby's coming now? You mean like now, or it was like a sitcom playing itself out. And I wasn't able to escape that male role that they always give us, because I was still trying to get blood flowing to the brain from waking up 5 minutes ago. So I was like, what? So I called 911. I says, we're going to need somebody here now. I was way more calm than they say I was. I can tell you that. I probably wasn't, but I was like, I'm gonna need you guys to break a few laws and drive really fast. Just your cops, turn on the siren. Get them here.
Because I'm not doing this.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, I said, well, she was already in the bathroom. She didn't know the baby was coming at that point, but she'd gone to you go wake up, go to the bathroom. That's how things work. Well, she was having a baby instead. And, there's number 1, number 2, and number 3. When you get to number 3, call a doctor. Get him here now. So she's not in here right now. She's going to shoot me. My mom doesn't kill me. My wife will. Yeah. We did 2 times over by the end of the day.
They'll forgive you. They'll forgive you.
So she's so at one point I said, why don't you, I said, are you able to lie in the bathtub comfortably? I said, because this is going to get messy really fast and I don't know what else to do here. I said, the baby needs a clean place to land, and the tub is clean, so let's use it.
Yeah.
And we could, because at this point I don't think we could get her back to the bedroom. We weren't going to have put her on the bed and put some blankets down and tub it was.
Yeah.
And the cop comes, he says, I'm here. And I says, thank you. I've been with her. I let him in. I had the door was open. Mom, at some point I'd called Mom, so Mom was here too. She was coming and she got here before I don't remember how that worked out. She was coming to watch him because we had to leave him with her.
Maybe they were doing a montage.
And then the officer Garrett, he delivers her Opal in the tub, and I get to see her here before they get to go to the hospital. Then I follow them to the hospital, and Mom watches him for the night. No, not him. You're not him. You're the girl. But she's the one that came out too fast for us to catch, and she's been going fast ever since.
She's the Ricky Bobby of the family, huh?
I'm surprised that we never got. We should have probably got her into track. We probably would have had a gold medal on our hands going on. We were too dumb to do that. Well, we're not real big into sports. It's kind of strange. My dad is. My dad's loves sports. My mom loves sports, but I just never was really. I was kind of more of the video game comic book reading kind of guy, and sports was kind of like, it's there. I can enjoy it with friends, but if it's just me, I'd rather do something else. I could enjoy sports as a social event, and that's how I've always enjoyed it. Probably the only thing actually the one sport I really liked wasn't really pre-1990, I never would have said it was not really a sport. That would have been bad, and they would beat me up for it, but it was pro wrestling. Now everybody knows, now it's now it's accepted. It's
Everywhere,
entertainment. It's entertainment. But back then it was bad form to say it was entertainment and not really a sport. And you know, you still respected those guys because they put themselves. Some of those guys put themselves through a lot of stuff to do what they did.
I grew up
to
with
simply have it
dismissed.
dismissed.
I understand.
I think every time I think of that, it's like I think of Mankind. That guy put himself through so much punishment to put on those things. Like you can't just call it you can't just dismiss it as entertainment. That man went way above and beyond the Call of Duty.
Yeah, him and Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage.
Yeah. But I mean, he broke. Yeah, they all did, but he did it to himself. At the time.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I think he did it worse than I think he was way more committed than the others. But,
old Mick Foley was something else.
Yes, Foley. Yeah, so that was it. Yeah, how many personas did he have? He had like he was Mankind, Foley,
Love.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. He had a lot of different personas.
I know.
Because over at ECW, he was doing ECW and he was doing some personas there too. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch ECW too much. We didn't have the channel for it. We had WCW on one and WWF on another, and ECW once in a blue moon we could get. That was a good league though when I saw it.
Yeah.
But that was Anyway, like I said, tangent powers.
Yeah. So you started, that's baby number 2, and then.
Well, so by baby number 3, we were aware that. So my wife has a pain tolerance level that's above and beyond what most women have for giving birth. Well, at least it was. It's starting to get a little more in the normal range now. I think, at least we don't know. We'll see, I guess.
So
what happened with Opal was she just didn't feel like she was giving. She had gotten used to the fake contractions and just thought it was a fake one, and it didn't hurt the same way it does for most other women to know it was coming. So she just didn't know that baby. She didn't wake her up. She was sleeping through part of it.
Daniel, I had nested so hard the day before.
I know.
I was exhausted.
I know.
I slept so hard that night.
Yeah, no, you're tired. She nests, which you know what that is. That's why the tub was clean. Yeah. That's, so I was clean. I don't know how that happened. Came home from work. Next thing I know, I'm clean. I was like, what the heck? I'm kidding. That didn't happen, but that was it. It might have happened. I don't remember. So baby number 3 comes, and we're a lot more prepared. We're telling the doctors, look, we had one at home. We don't want that. We don't want that again. But those nurses, you tell them that, and they instantly forget it because they're like, now look, we know you want a New Year's baby, but we can't just make it come out. I was like, I don't want a New Year's baby. I just don't want a baby at home again. She goes, did you do that on purpose? Why would I do that on purpose? Like, why are you just assuming things? You're a nurse. Just do your job. I mean, she made me mad. That nurse made me mad because she assumed I didn't say that, but I was like,
they make you sit still for a half
they hold.
Or they check how far along.
So we thought there's a few times we thought we were going to have a kid. We just went in, and the nurse was giving us a hard time for coming in so often. It's like, I was like, I just don't want one at home again. She's like, did you do that on purpose? It's like, no. Do you want me to talk to you like this? Or do you want me to talk to you like a normal person? Because you're going to talk like this to me. I didn't say that. I was that close. I mean, it's always taking place around 12. It's like 12 midnight or 2 in the morning. The kids never come at normal ages. Or normal time, normal age. They all came at normal ages. I just got severely distracted there by the chair. Am I coming apart again? Okay. Oh goodness. If I just collapse, it's the rocking chair. I'll be fine. They all came at the middle of the night, and all the fake contractions came at that time too. So we were just trying to be ready for it. And this nurse just was like, I don't know what was. She thought we wanted a New Year's baby. It's like, I don't care. It's like, I don't. That's not on my mind. And she's like, yeah, right. It's like, ma'am, you. Anyway. I could probably control myself. I control myself pretty well, but afterwards I was like, I'm glad I didn't say the things I said I was thinking about saying. But I was like, but at the same time, I was going, I probably should have.
Like, I see you read the book of James. Slow to speak.
At 2 in the morning, it's hard to remember the Bible. So, and then
it doesn't help that when you're walking to the place and riding in the car to the place, I'm having all these contractions. And then we get there and they make us wait for a half hour before they can start measuring things. And I have to sit still, and that causes it to slow down. So it's like, you don't understand. They were.
if you can't hear her, let me know.
I can hear.
You
Okay.
don't understand. They were a lot closer together before you made me sit still and wait for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Doctors, watch this segment here.
So yeah, then Joanna comes along and that one was a lot more what I would call normal. But so far she's the least normal of the bunch. That's not a bad thing. She's oh my goodness. She has, yes, she's clever. That's the best word for her. She oh my goodness. So we watched, have you ever watched Mr. A Game on YouTube at all?
Mm-mm.
So he plays today he plays Mario, but only because or Mario Maker only because he feels like he has to. Back in the day when he used to play Mario Maker when it was by choice, he became popular because one of his first videos, he was playing the Mario Maker level, couldn't beat it. He just couldn't believe that this level was so hard. He finally sets the controller down in disbelief because he just can't beat this level, and he's trying really hard to do it. And the level plays itself and wins. And he looks at it, his jaw just drops. And it was hilarious. So we watched him for a good long while with the kids. But he got to the point where he started getting more professional and doing memes and things like he'd take memes from the old movies, and there was it the Atlantis, was that a Disney movie? And the old lady says, "We're all gonna die," because they're trying to get this plan to fight the bad guys, and she's just convinced they're all just gonna get themselves killed. And so we're all loading into the car one day. And now we've seen the memes a lot, but that was not in my mind at all. I wasn't thinking of Mario Maker. I wasn't thinking of Mr. A Game. I hadn't seen the movie in years. And we're getting ready to go, and something happens, and Joanna just says in this weird voice, "We're all gonna die." And I sat there for a moment in the car thinking, God, are you speaking through my child?
Yeah, like a scene from a horror movie.
Well, it didn't sound like the voice I thought God would use through my child. That was like, it's like, what was that all about? So I stopped for a moment. So I thought, okay, it's not God, because that was really creepy, and it was not. I don't think he would do that. But I mean, not to say.
She just thought the meme was funny.
But she was just repeating the meme, and I wasn't coming to my mind for nothing. And I can't remember if it was Amanda or Titus.
I just tell her yes, but probably not today.
Well, they mentioned the meme, and I like, oh, from Mario, from Mr. A Game, and then until it became clear, I was like, that's why she did. But ever since then, she's made that's been her kind of her humor. She's picked up on certain kinds of jokes or come up with jokes on her own that's in the same vein, and so I've kind of nicknamed her Wednesday because they're funny, but they're also very scary, and so you have this. Oh, and that's man, but she helps me out so much. She does. She's like, I said she's my sidekick earlier, and she does things with me. So when I'm streaming, if she's not playing or got something else going on, she'll sit down at one of the computers, watch the chat. She'll say, "Daddy, Logical Raven's talking to you," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll check it." Sure enough, there's Raven. He's said something, and otherwise it takes me a long time to see chat because of, well, some of that's because I'm using the TV for a monitor right now, which actually works out so well. I haven't changed it. I kind of like it. It's like I got the best of a console and a computer going on, except that when I'm reading text, it's a little hard to read. So I set up my phone, but when I'm playing a game, it's hard to pay attention to text
Both.
or
Yeah.
chats, I'm pointing as if everybody can see my screen or your screen, I guess, not mine, but I can't see it because I'm focused on the game mostly, and so I set it up on my phone to help me read it so I can actually get it close enough. And there's times when I just got to take my glasses. This is either a sign of getting old or it's a sign of this eye, when it worked proper, it made up for this eye. This eye has always been a little off. I would have called this my strong eye, and turns out this was not my strong eye the entire time, or it was, and I wore it out. But yeah, so I'll have to pull it. I'll use the phone and I'll put it right about here just to read it. So when people see me pick up my phone, that's all I'm doing is I'm just checking chat and or other things, and that's so that's kind of what I can kind of see chats if I have the screen set up or the windows, not the screens because I only got one screen on the computer. If I have the windows set up, I'll try to keep chat off to the side a little bit, but just enough so I see it and so I know something's there. And I'll notice that a little more quickly. It's weird how I'll notice that more quickly than if something actually shows up in full. And other times the phone helps me out because it's actually in front of me on the tray with the keyboard and the mouse. So when I use the keyboard and mouse, I'm often checking that screen or trying to. I'm a little better at it than I was, but AC just said that just takes time to get used to remembering to check, and I'm still getting used to it. I'm not a good streamer. I was barely a good video uploader before streaming. And most of it was just me saying, "Okay, here's a video I made. Hope it's something you want to watch."
It takes time to get used to it, like to be able to because I have my main computer off to my left. That's where I have that's my main desktop.
Tiny little head over here. Sorry.
Built-in monitor, and then I have two other monitors attached to it. So I'm looking at my secondary monitor. Is my main? It's the screen I mainly use when I'm streaming and stuff. That's where the studio is for me. And then off to my right, I have additional tabs and windows and things like that. And so, like if I'm sharing like additional, like maybe another little small screen on my screen within the program I'm using, OBS, and I'll share all that stuff. So yeah, it gets you have to get used to like tracking all that.
Yeah.
And like to do that and play a video game. I look at guys like Fragniak and I'm going,
yeah.
How does he keep track of all of it? Because he's sitting there, he's bouncing between chat, shooting bad guys, and
and he's doing it well.
Yeah,
it's like, how do you do that, dude?
Yeah, it's almost like he's got all six arms of Spider-Man's when he just before he became Man Spider.
I was telling my daughter about that the other day. She didn't like that story.
But yeah, so you have on this. That's 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
And we've got and we've got one on the way too, right? So that'll make number.
I got 4 kids. Well, we almost had 5 before, but we had 1 miscarriage, and then so this will be our 6th child, but the 5th one we get to keep. I hope there's not another miscarriage. I don't expect there to be. Everything's been going pretty good. Is that an alarm going off, or is that me?
That's for Riz.
Oh, okay. Sorry, we got an alarm going off in the background. I either got a mix of medical alarms going off, or I got other things going off. So I was just trying to make sure I wasn't missing something. Gotcha. So
yeah,
that was for me.
You have 4 of them, and 4 of them, but there is this other one
Yep.
on the way. So what a blessing.
This will be a boy. So my son finally got his brother he's always wanted. Too late. He's just too late. He no longer cares. He's okay with it. He was okay with a girl or a boy now. Plus, he knows they won't match age very well. He's like, he's 13, and this will be it's a bit of a big age gap there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not much that they can relate to together, other than
they will, but different than he originally planned.
Different dynamic, yeah.
Yeah.
Siblings tend to learn how to get a good dynamic going.
Oh my goodness, my daughter figured that out the other day. She was like, "Wait, that's a big age gap. You mean he's never going to know what I was like as a little girl?" I was like, and I don't mean to make light of that because it didn't dawn on her until a little while later, and it kind of got to her a little bit because she's like, "But I want him to know me that way." It's like we have pictures. I said, you're still you. I says, he's gonna get to know who you are. But yeah, I said the only thing we can do is just take time to get used to the idea of it. I says, I didn't know how else to address it.
So you eventually got into streaming. You were talking about like you made some videos and stuff like that. So what was it that got you started in streaming specifically?
I kind of always wanted to do it, but I just never had the equipment. And I just started recording off. So my son was going through games when you were talking about something. That's why I asked him to settle down for a minute. But he was starting to list off the games. Like if you go back through my videos, I have video uploads on Rumble that are actually I had uploaded. I think they all got a lot. The earliest ones got uploaded at the same time because I was just archiving my stuff from YouTube. I wasn't planning on getting into anything too controversial on YouTube, but around COVID and stuff, they were getting kind of persnickety about language, and I thought, you know what? If I say something in a video, I'm not gonna I'm gonna upload it. If they kick me off, I just don't want all my eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
So I just want a different website. So I went to Odyssey. I went to BitChute. BitChute was my kind of main go-to before Rumble. I hadn't heard of Rumble yet, and I really like Rumble. I like it's really a community with Rumble because like BitChute, there's a lot of people there uploading, but
yeah,
I don't get a lot of interaction there. Maybe someday that might change because there are some people they when I get the live streams working, I have a little trouble with the live. I had lots of trouble this morning, but that was more me than the equipment. But yeah, I had during the computer problems that delayed us some the last time was that I had wired things up differently on the TV so my wife could play games without having to worry about messing with my streaming equipment.
Right.
So I forgot that I did that. So I was having trouble this morning. But BitChute, sometimes I will actually see people watching the live stream and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Someone's actually watching me, but I don't get a lot of chats. So I don't know who they are or if they're even enjoying it or if they just like to torture themselves or what the deal is. So I got a little, what do you call it? The self-deprecating humor. So I don't mind making fun of if I so I do that once in a while. That bothers some people. Like, why do you do that? Why do you make fun of yourself like that? Like, because it's funny.
Yeah,
that's all it is. Yeah. It's just, but it's mean. It's like, no, I don't mean it. I mean, it's having fun.
Yeah, if it makes you laugh, it won't matter.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, whatever. They don't get that some people could understand that other people may not appreciate what you're into. But that was kind of where I come from. It's like, okay, yeah, some people are gonna love it, some people are gonna hate it. If you're watching it and hate it, thanks.
Yeah. It's like, thanks. Ledger as Joker, is that you? Why so serious?
Yeah, so I'm doing uploads and I'm just uploading to Rumble and I'm recording. And so I did a lot of DC Legends back on mobile. It was easy to record from a mobile phone. That's where I started recording. I don't know why I didn't think to do it on the PlayStation. I had a PlayStation. I could have recorded those. I started thinking that later, and I went, why don't I just record my gameplay and upload it? Because I had the access to do that. They have it, but you have to go through YouTube, so I was still relying on YouTube to get the video uploaded. Because PlayStation had the deal where you could just upload directly to YouTube, but you couldn't upload anywhere to other places. So I was like, okay, well, so I still needed YouTube, and even though I was relying on that, I was like, well, if I ever need to, I could use a USB key and then upload somewhere else. So at some point, I got into Rumble. I think it just came out. I just wanted one more. I had BitChute and Odyssey. I was like, I'd really like another one, just one more. I don't want to go too crazy. So that's why I know some guys are streaming on some different platforms, and I'm not too crazy about adding in yet another platform because I just don't want to mess with it. It's been a little hairy with multiple platforms, and I'd like to get the ones I like under my belt first before I add more if I really want to do that. And so AC Raven, I started G2G. I got started watching their stuff last. I think it was last year, and before them it was Nate on NJ Gaming. He was the first one that really started talking about it. And he's like, you could do this. I'm like, oh, I can't really stream though. He's like, yeah, he goes, we could do this on the PlayStation and stuff. Yeah, but I said, I don't have a computer. I said, I need a capture card. And at the time we had there's the gaming room, there's the living room. Okay, I need you to not distract me too much. We're trying to wrap up here. Thanks. he's very happy with the toys he got. Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. So he's so that kind of got me thinking. I was like, well, I just need a capture card. But one of the things I had to do, I finally last Christmas, my wife got me the capture card. So I went ahead and I said, you get me this. I said, I think I can stream. And she goes, okay, if that's what you really want to do. So I got the capture card. I had to get two 25 feet HDMI cables because I had to run 25 feet of cable to the computer cabinet from the TV. I wasn't really sure how long I needed. It actually worked out okay, but I could have probably used another couple of feet, but I wasn't sure how my signal was going to stretch. And so we started streaming through the Mac, which that took a little while to figure out because no one could really help me with the Mac. I'm the Mac guy. I'm the one that has to answer my own questions.
I'm Mac guy too, yeah.
But my Mac's but Apple, my Mac is getting old. It's at the point now where the operating system no longer updates, so all the software is starting to get past it. So I was probably able to use my Mac for the last few months. I was able to use for the first few months. It worked out pretty good once I got settings ironed out. So between Nate and another guy, oh my goodness, I'm going to forget his name. He hasn't been on Rumble for a long time, and I hope he's okay because he wasn't health-wise. He had some health issues, but he helped me out quite a bit. And I didn't know him too well. He was just some guy I just happened to cross because I was looking for help on Rumble, and he just happened to do a video about it, about how to use OBS. And he said, well, you're on a Mac, you're going to have some problems I don't know how to answer. He says, but you might want to look at virtual cables because it sounds like the OBS on the Mac does not offer the same sound options that Windows offers. So we had to basically get a virtual cable to pretend like I was hooking up my output to my input and then tell OBS to use this output from my software. And I don't know if that makes sense to anybody because it barely makes sense to me because I'm used to plug it.
Mac, so I get
it. So because OBS on Windows, I started since Raven got me the machine and Raven AC and G2G helped me out get this machine here. It's like this is all automatic. I didn't have to do anything with virtual cables. The only virtual thing I got going on now is my microphone. I have to. I guess it's here. I'm reversed, so it's actually the right direction. So the only thing I had to do is get I have no way to up the volume on my microphone. And so to up it, I have to use the same people that made the virtual cable have some other audio software. They allow me to boost my audio so I can actually be heard. Otherwise, on Discord, no one can hear me if I don't do that. They usually turn me up on Discord if I go without my voice meter is what I'm using right now to boost my audio. That might be why I came through so loud. I wasn't sure whether to use it or not with Rumble, but I thought, I better not chance it. That might be why the noise canceling is not canceling because it's being overridden at this point. Now that you got me thinking about it, now I'm kind of thinking on that topic. But so they got me. So they helped me when they saw what I was trying to do with 25 feet, 50 feet of total of HDMI cable. They're like, dude, you're trying really hard. We can tell you're trying. We're just gonna help you out. So they got me going with this computer. I've had a little trouble with it, and it's fine. They got me going again, and it took a little time to just kind of wait, test things, and we got going, and now it's all working again. But yeah, so I just I really enjoy it because now I can kind of stream, play with everybody. I was playing with everybody before I could stream, but I would record it. But what I was having problems with, even because of my equipment, it was all PlayStation based. It wouldn't record Discord, so you'd hear me talking to people that you couldn't hear them. It was like, as far as anybody else knew, I was just talking to myself.
Like, this dude's crazy. I'm gonna watch him.
yeah. It could have been its own thing. It's me and my invisible friends. But if they were on the internal game chat, like with Fortnite chat, then they could hear them. But if they were on the Discord, they couldn't hear them. And I did some searching, and Discord and Sony never came to an agreement on that. And if you ask one, they tell you to talk with them. They'll tell you how to fix it. But if you ask the other, they say, you need to talk to them. They'll tell you how to fix it. It's on their end. It's like, oh no, it's that game. It's their fault. Their fault.
Yeah, it's
not her fault.
With Elgato and PC, it's the same problem. Threw that Elgato camera out. I was like, somebody else can have this.
Yeah. This is what she's trying to get me with.
That's what she picked for her toy today.
That's what she picked for her toy today, and she loves it.
So you got started streaming, and you start building up a community here on Rumble, and now that you've kind of solidified a spot here on Rumble in the community, what does that feel like from your perspective, like being a part of the Rumble community and having so many good connections here?
I sometimes feel like I'm operating from a stance of disbelief. That's because I just can't believe. I mean, I do believe it, but it's like, wow. It's like, how did this happen? So I'm thankful to people. I've had a lot of help and a lot of support from a lot of good people, and I'm thankful. But wow, it wows me. I'm just wowed. I love it. I love it. I like streaming. I like because there's always those moments that you have in a game, and you're like, man, if only someone else was here to see that. And now I feel like it's like, okay, now I got some better equipment. Even if I'm not live, I might actually capture something that I can still share later with somebody and stream it later or post it on a short or something. I had one time where my legs were weird in Fortnite, and I was just gliding around the map because I couldn't stand up, and I'm like, who's gonna believe this? Oh, I was recording, so okay. It's recorded now. I can make a short out of it and share it, and it's just a bizarre thing to see. I don't. It should be a short. If it's not short, I'll make one out of it soon. I'm terrible at shorts. I technically don't care for shorts. I really don't care for shorts, but I'm learning how to do it more. I'm glad Rumble made that easy. So you just go to what you recorded and clip it, and you're good to go. So I can do that a little easier. But yeah, I'm just astounded. But I'm excited. I feel like I'm still at the start. Even though, like you said, I'm building this, it still feels like I'm just still getting things going.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always the ever changing landscape too. I mean, these new eyeballs that are coming to Rumble, the new people that are discovering you, and then you're like, oh well, because you have your peeps that have been there since the beginning, and then you have these new folks coming in, and I mean, Revolver just hit 400 subs today on here on Rumble, and
congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you. And
my voice has started to turn to Alex Jones, apparently.
They're making the frogs gay.
I don't know what's happening there, guys.
But yeah, Sterling was streaming earlier today and gaming, and that's when we hit the 400 subs. I was like, I was telling him about it. I saw it, and he goes, I know I was live when it happened.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, there's always that fluctuation state of like, okay, now there's these new people, these new eyeballs, and they're going to get to experience everything you do on Rumble, and hear your opinions and like become part of your community, family, really, even some of them.
So that's my biggest challenge has been the headaches. I'm actually going to try to do a stream about those at some point. I just got to figure. I don't like scripts or writing things down. Mm-hmm. But if I don't do that, I mean, you know how hard it is for me to focus. You're seeing it right now. It's easy because a lot of times if I'm just playing the game, I'm reacting to what the game's doing, and so when I change stuff, it's because the game did something. I mean, something happened that I was playing, and I was like, at least my sudden change of thinking happened because of something that happened on screen, so it's a little understandable. Or the kids did something, and well, it all plays into each other. And the worst thing is talking on my hands. I'm playing a game. It's like this. I just try to keep it off camera so no one notices, and well, they don't notice as much. That's why I cross my arms too, because it gives me something to do with my hands. But the teacher taught me that. Now it looks like I've got attitude.
No,
So,
I recognize those things right away because I have ADHD, and so a lot of times you'll see me crossing my arms. You see
Yep.
me wiggling in my chair this whole time. Some of it's discomfort, but like just because I can't sit still, and you know, like one of the catalysts for like doing this show was being able to just sit and listen. Like even at 42 years of age, it's still kind of like, okay, zone in, hear what they have to say, understand not only what they're talking about, but then also take that and then build on it
Yep.
so that other people can hear that story. And so I get it. Like being able to pay attention for longer than 15 seconds is a challenge when
Yep.
your brain naturally goes and you're trying, the synapses are firing so fast. You're like, wait, get back here.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll make new words out of 2 or 3 different words. And since I've been trying to study, I got a little more. See, with meeting Charles again, he got me. Well, it wasn't just him. I've studied Spanish a while, but I've never been good at just buckling down and learning it. So I've been trying to do that more lately too. I'm now mixing 2 languages together. that's not easy because nobody understands me at that point. That's not Spanglish either. It's just wrong. I mean, it's one thing when you mix sentences, like you get a word from one language, bring it in with a word from another language, especially if you're just trying to reach for it and grab your English, your home language, your more native language back to the front, and it comes out. But to mix 2 words together is it's bad enough in English. It's even worse or Spanish, but it's even worse when you just say, I'm grabbing this language and I'm grabbing this one and something new. And I can't even tell you what it was anymore that I did that with. I wasn't recording. It was just something that came out of my mouth one day. I was like, what was I trying to say there?
Maybe you're speaking minion, you know.
You know, maybe that's what happened. Maybe I was watching. I do pick up those accents once in a while.
I mean,
yep. Yeah.
Because they started off. I don't know if you know this or not, but like the original Minion language was Slavic.
Oh. Okay.
That's why
there was a gal doing that. She said something about speaking Slavic.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's true. That you go back and you can Google it right now. It was the original language that they used, and then they started adding in French and Latin and English in bits and pieces here. So like you know they'll say strawberry.
Yeah. They did that so well, and I didn't catch it because I wasn't aware of. I don't know Slavic at all.
Neither.
So I wouldn't have picked up on that originally.
But I can imagine the Slavs was just laughing their butts off because they know exactly what they're saying.
Yep.
Like
the only ones who know what the whole film says.
Yeah. They're just saying things like banana, strawberry, bat, goat. You know, like nothing makes sense. None of it actually comes together. That's just how they did it.
Did you see the ball?
Yeah, I did.
The thing is, without the depth, okay, so eventually I should pick up some depth perception. I just don't have it yet. The bad news is, in the meantime, I couldn't tell which way it was going or coming, and I thought it was coming at me, not away from
me. Yeah, it passed behind you.
Yeah,
but yeah, man, it's been fantastic so far. We got it down to the final 2 questions.
Okay.
And I know we kind of discussed that a little bit earlier, so give you some time to noodle on it a little bit. But based on the story that you've shared of your life thus far, and where you're at now, what would be the biggest piece of advice that you would want to give our viewers and listeners right now, based on your experience thus far in life?
Trust God. Don't worry so much. Someone asked me once, it was work, because it was one of my anniversaries. They said, what advice would you give to your past self? If you could go back and tell yourself one thing, I would tell myself not worry so much, because God worked it out. But I think I would add trust God to that, because I didn't have much time to think about it back then. And I've had a little more time to think about something like that. Trust God, because if it wasn't for him, well, that hospital stay, I probably would have been my last, I think. And even if it wasn't, my life could have took a very different direction. Even if it wasn't the end of me, I could have gone a completely different direction with that. And I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad that God got me through it. And I need to not worry so much, because he's got it and I don't. He knows he can tell the end from the beginning, not me.
Yeah.
And I think that was a big part of my problem. I always was trying to figure out, where's it going? What's my advantage here? What do I want to know what's coming so I can be ready for it. And I could drive myself crazy doing that. We can't know that ourselves.
No, we sure can't. Was it man plans and God laughs? So yeah, that's great advice. You don't worry about tomorrow. He's got it taken care of.
Yep.
And then if we were to put a leather bound,
I'm falling apart again. I wasn't even trying to lean on it that hard. I was just going for another Kleenex here. It's actually toilet paper, because we ran out of Kleenexes.
That may be the answer to the question. So
it plays into it.
Yeah. So if we were to put a leather bound cover,
oh, okay. We're good. I'm not on the camera no more.
If we were to put a leather bound cover on your story of your life thus far, anyway, what would be the title of that story?
Blessed Mayhem.
Blessed Mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
That's
AC said at one time, I said, there's a certain level of mayhem that comes with midnight. I said, that could be my second name, Mayhem. And it's just, there's a certain amount of crazy that just seems to go on in my life that I can't explain it. It's not all bad either. I'd take it, because sometimes because it comes with a lot of good also. Are we good?
Yeah.
Sort of? Okay. I might have to switch chairs. The last time I do an interview in this chair until we get it fixed. Actually, this is where I stream out of too. I might be in trouble there too. Anyway, I was gonna call it something about mayhem when you said earlier. I thought, yeah, it's gonna have to be mayhem, and then I thought, no. And somewhere in the middle of the stream, I thought, no, it's blessed mayhem, because out of all my life, God has blessed me in the midst of all the craziness, and sometimes He's just flat out used sometimes the craziness is the mayhem. Or, I mean, the craziness is the blessing, because it's just He's used it. This chair is just done, guys. We've seen the end of the chair in the chair's final stream.
R.I.P. But I was thinking of when you said that too, is like the old adage that you hear in church, that we've all heard it before. God will never give you more than you can handle. And when I used to hear that, I used to go like, oh yeah, nod along. Now I'm like, no, that's baloney.
Yeah,
because
it's not biblical.
Yeah, it's not biblical. It's not. There's nowhere in Scripture. And as a matter of fact, he will hand. I mean, you just spelled it out in the 3 hours here. God will definitely give you more than you can handle, because He wants you to do what? He wants you to lean on Him.
Mm-hmm.
And thank God that you did. And because it's been fantastic to know that you're here and streaming, and you got wonderful family.
Nice.
It's always fun to watch you stream when I get the chance to, and interact. And we love having you in our live chat. When I see your name pop up, I'm like, he's here. Always excited to see our friends come and hang out.
I'm always at work too, so I mean, even when I'm there, I try to be. It's like work, happens. I have to do that.
Right.
But yeah, it's like, yep, I finally made it. I get there and it's like, oh, I wish I wasn't late, but here I am. And it's always good to make it, because it kind of helps me get a little Bible before things, or at least either Bible or Bible talk as I'm getting my day going. And That's really good because in the mornings I don't move so good, so it's like I'm not getting my Bible time in the morning. It's got to come at night, so so it's good. I don't have to wait to at least listen to somebody else talking about it. It's like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful, like AC and Steve getting me over there and listening.
Yeah, it's been a blessing to have you too. So and thank you for doing this. Thank you for being willing to sit and talk about your story and go through the ups and downs and I'm sure that there's going to be at least one person, if not many, that when they see this, it's going to be a blessing to them and go, oh,
Mhm.
I could have just been trusting in God the whole time.
I've been like that my whole life. Sometimes God still teaches me the lesson over again. It's like, look, I know you got this last time, but you're gonna get it again. It's like I read the Bible. He does that with a lot of people. They just maybe he doesn't do it with every individual person, but it seems like there's certain things he repeats in the Bible. It's like I'm glad he repeats this because maybe he didn't. I needed that. I needed it to be repeated.
Yeah, there's nothing new under the sun, and he knew
No.
he knew we were gonna
Mhm.
all continually just be dumb. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
We're terrible. We're wretched without him, and our destination is definitely hell without him. So, just before I get the rumblers rated out to our good friend G2G, who's streaming right now, because he's over there playing some baseball. I'm sure that I don't know if Darmac is in there playing with him too, but I know that Darmac was schooling him there for a while.
That's really cool what they're doing because it's like you got your own baseball league and we could just do our own thing with video games.
So fantastic. But if you're on any one of those platforms, whether Rumble or otherwise, Monday morning, just like always, 9 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Saturday, Morning Word will be here. We're doing Bible study, as Midnight knows. We'll be doing Bible study, and we got some things coming up next week as well. So just keep those notification bells turned on for everything Revolver Broadcasting. Now, if you want to follow this guy down next to me, all of his links are in the description below. Anything Midnight Q is all in the description below. And if you haven't already followed him, I highly recommend you do. Not just for the gaming, but just for the good conversation. He's a good guy, and he loves the Lord. So as you heard, so that's always a good time, right? And
yeah.
and of course you get the mayhem. So
Yep.
why wouldn't you want to tune in for that? But I'll tell folks before I send you off. Also, just like I say in every stream that I'm on, to stay in trouble. And why do I tell you to stay in trouble? Because if you have Christ in your hearts, you will in fact be in trouble with the world. The world doesn't want you living under his grace. That's your salvation first and foremost. And I pray that each and every one of you has that. I really do. The world doesn't want you praying to him, having a relationship with him, or reading his word. And it definitely doesn't want you going out and doing something so dangerous as telling others about him. It can't have that, man. The world it will fight you tooth and nail, but it just, as you know, in video games, Midnight, when you start facing resistance, you're going the right way.
That's right.
Yep. So I want to encourage you to do all that anyway and stay in trouble. And I think I can speak for Midnight. We love you guys. And definitely see you on the next one. Midnight, thank you again. And stick around as this raid goes out.